Show thingy, my bobby job. Of course, it's the killer bees. So we're gonna try to do some birding today. I think try to get up around 60 or 70. So we leave ourselves a good 3 days or 2.5 days to catch the last 40 or so species to get to 100 before I go on leave. I think Jamie's going to go see if she can find Hosanna and Shongile on foot. And I'm not sure where Taylor's bombing about. I think we're going to slowly move down towards Chitwa. I'm just going to have a quick check down around Cheetah Cut Line and the east there, see if there's any sign of the wild dogs. There was tracks all around this morning. Unfortunately, they weren't the most fresh. I think they were mostly from last night's after drive. So I couldn't smell them. As soon as you smell a dog, you know you're on hot tracks, but if you can't smell them, they're a bit old normally. Brian, what do you want to see today? Don't say pangolin.
Aardvark.
Oh, I was about to say don't say aardvark. Well, you never know. That's the joy of being live in the African bush. Literally anything might appear at any time. Oh, that is, I wondered why that was so itchy. You see that there, Brian? Look what this little, let me just try, wait. Right between my, oh, it fell out. I scratched it out. Right between my knuckles was a pepper tick. Evil little things. That's so itchy. But it is quite a windy day. Some cumulus clouds building around, but nothing that looks threatening, just some little marshmallow puffs in the sky. Or maybe candy floss more than marshmallow. Maybe we'll take a gander, see what's happening down on Cheetah Plans. I don't think anyone got down there this morning. Oh. Oh, bouncy bounce. Now, Queen Karula crossed south this morning, but Hosanna and Shongile seem to stay. But it is much easier to find them on foot initially, so that's why Jamie's headed there. And I think Taylor says if Jamie finds them, she's going to go take over from her after a while. Which gives us rain to bird. We're going to twitch. But often when we twitch, we tend to find some quite cool things. So itchy. Now, we checked the hyena den this morning. There was no action happening there. So maybe towards the end of the drive on our way home, we might go and have a stop in just before it gets dark. Oh, is that a suicidal squirrel? No, it's a running away squirrel. Oh, and off it goes. It is a beautiful day. It's not too hot today. It's sort of quite temperate at the moment. I guess it's around 25 degrees, 26 degrees Celsius. So what's that? 70 something? Oh, apparently it's 83, 28 degrees Celsius. Doesn't feel like it's 28. It's very pleasant at the moment. Oh, I think we're going to get some good birds as it cools down. Hasn't been the hottest day, so they could be quite active still. Definitely think we'll try to get some water birds at Chitwa again. Oh, maybe take a slide past Twin Dams, see if Taylor's Goliath heron is around. Bye! We'll see you just now.
This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
We're watching the little grebes bob and dive away here in Vuyatela Dam, and this is Safari Live. into the most spectacular, well, I think it's going to be the most spectacular sunset safari out here in the Sabi Sand Private Game Reserve in South Africa. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me on this very windy day is Craig, aka Batman. One of these days he's going to stop doing the thumb and we're just going to have to shine a bat signal straight into the camera. And like I said, we're out here, we're looking for all sorts of wonderful things. Who knows what we're going to see. Hopefully we'll find the royal family, maybe the Nkuhumas, you never know, and possibly a couple of elephants splashing around. Now this is a live interactive safari, so we really hope that you do send us through many questions or comments or even some screenshots, and we'd be quite happy to answer any questions you have for us. And the best way to get hold of all of the presenters out here, hashtag safariLIVE on Twitter, and those will come right through and be fed into our ears. Craig, are you there? Silent Craig. Now we're just bumbling around at the moment. Herbert actually mentioned to me that there were some Duggar boys, some buffalo bulls, roaming around on a road called Jigga Jigga Road, aka Ingwe Alley, which is one of the prettier roads that we have out here on Djuma. So that's what we're doing, is we are heading in that direction via the scenic route. And when I say scenic route, I mean that we're going through now Giraffe Dip. We're going to go along Central, and then we'll start going south, and hopefully we will bump into those Duggar boys, perhaps mud wallowing, who knows what they will be up to. But Craig, we need to get fly swatters here. Although actually Craig said to me, this is the kind of things that Craig says to me. Craig said to me, he says, no, we don't really need fly swatters because they're all just hanging around me. So I was just bait. I was luring them away. See, Craig, because you said that you get the ugly one and you have to pull your own stems off. There we go. Right, let's carry on. I've got a goodie. Swat those flies away. I just think that this is the most unbelievable piece of bush equipment that we have out here. There are many different trees and plants that can do all sorts of fantastic things. That was Craig just closing the back there. He almost fell out. No, he didn't. But I think of all the trees, this has to be one of my favorite shrubs, the guarri branch. There's just so much that you can do with it. And of course, my particular favorite, and I think it's the favorite of all of us at the moment, is to swat flies and beat the ticks away. I don't know how you feel about that. But if you ever do come out to Africa, this is something you've definitely got to do, is grab hold of a guarri branch and just see all the useful things that you can do with it. Let's go and see what our first animal is going to be. What do you think, Craig? Impala, maybe? We're not sure what we're going to see out here. We're definitely going to do a bit of cloud watching later. There's some spectacular clouds forming. So get your creative juices well ready. We're going to zoom across to Brent now, who would love to say good afternoon, or perhaps how do you do?
Good afternoon and how do you do? My name is Brent Smith. I have the fantastic Brian Dubert on camera with his paperboy thumb. Extra, read all about it. The thumb has an announcement, so you're going to have to stay tuned because the announcement's only coming in the last 5 minutes of drive. And of course, Brent, Brian, killer bees! And we're hoping to have an absolutely fantastic drive today. Now, Taylor, you might like to use a guarri bush. However, in my experience, far more effective than a guarri bush, is a good peltiforum branch. And of course, when beating oneself, one should generally choose the softest, most lovely leaves. Of course, this is also nicknamed the toilet paper tree because of how lovely and soft the leaves are. And so, Taylor might like a bit of, I don't know how to say that. But I prefer beating myself softly rather than whipping myself. Each to their own. Brian thinks that's very funny. But we're going to carry on. As I said, I would have a quick look around for those wild dogs. I think they have gone to the east though. And then I'm going to definitely do some birding. And of course, if you want to chat to us about what we're up to, hashtag safariLIVE. And we will definitely try and get back to you. Also, let us know where you're watching from. It's always wonderful to know where you guys are. Now, of course, this time of the day is also great for elephants swimming, so you never know, we might find that. Oh, it is a stunning day. We got to get some more birds, I think. We haven't done one franklin yet. How terrible of us. Ignoring the poor franklins. Okay, but we are checking around for birds. Ooh, Aaron in New Zealand has got a very specific request for birding today, and that is a giant kingfisher. Well, I think we might be in luck around Chitwa Dam a little bit later, and I've got something in store when we get there. I'm not going to ruin the surprise yet. Now, of course, rain, heat equals explosions of stable flies, and those are the little biting flies that are attacking Taylor and myself and Jamie, and they are evil blighters, blood-sucking vermin. Now, of course, you've seen Taylor, who's bumbling about, and I'm also driving. Now, let's go see Jamie, who's trying to find Hosana and Shungile on foot.
Trying to find Hosana and Shungile on foot and at the same time dodging the biting flies. Hey, Dave.
Oh, yes.
Perhaps we should make a custom-built fly swatter as well. All good. A very good afternoon to all of you and welcome to the Sunset Safari. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon, as you may have gathered, it is Dave on camera with me and Herbie striding ahead in a pair of shorts. It's the first time I have ever seen him wear a pair of shorts. I would introduce you, but he's run away. It's one of those things. He's as eager to find those leopards as we are. So as Brent gave away our game plan for the afternoon, you know that I am on the search for our 2 leopard cubs. And it's worked really well with our bushwalk teams at the moment because it's so thick that essentially your only way of actually seeing where those cubs are is on foot, walking through an area. Now for now, we're staying on the road for one of several reasons. 1, ticks. 2, it's quite windy. It stopped blowing now, and I don't know if you ask Brent or Taylor maybe very nicely, because we don't really have a view, but you should see the storm that is building to the south of us. It's scary looking, isn't it, Dave? There's a little bit there that you can see on our sort of eastern boundary. That's obviously come in first, that's blown in first. But the cumulus clouds that are gathering are some of the biggest I've seen this year. I wonder if it's going to hit us, or if it's going to be another situation where it just goes past us. Taylor McCurdy wants to do some cloud watching later. And what? Presumably decide what shapes they are. I saw she saw an elephant in the clouds the other day. I've always been very bad at that. Somebody's like, I see a crocodile. I see this, I see that. And I'm going, I see nothing. Obviously don't have the same imagination that Taylor has. It's like those Rorschach paintings or drawings or whatever they are. I look at them and go, blob, maybe butterfly if I'm feeling really imaginative and creative that day. There's another big cumulus cloud. And it's starting to break up to the west over the mountains. Sure. Oh, sorry, Dave. I'll just elbow you in the kidney. That's all right. Dave's very forgiving. And I've got sharp elbows. Sorry, Dave. Not as sharp as Kirsty's. That is true. So we're looking at the enormous storm and hoping that it holds off, at least for us, for the next 2 hours. After that, we'll be home and the vehicles can do as they will. Look at that garden orb. Isn't that beautiful? We're starting to see them more and more. We've actually got an entire garden orb web spider here. And I'm going to try and show Dave a bit closer, or get Dave a bit closer. But I don't want to walk him straight into the knobthorn, which I imagine Dave would appreciate as well. Hey, Dave. Nah. Dave's tough and rugged. Oh, and she's running away. Wow, that was fast. Did I touch a web strand? All the way over here. It's possible. They do have incredibly long anchor strands, so I might have. I don't see one though. But she started running as soon as I came around this corner. Okay, Dave, the way in through here is kind of clear. So you might be able to come around this side. But then we can't get any closer, unfortunately, without you diving into the thorns. And there are extreme lengths that we would have our cameraman go to, but not that extreme. So let me try and point. Can you see her there, Dave?
I do see her.
You've got her. There is the gorgeous garden orb spider, as opposed to the golden orb that Dave and I filmed not so long ago. A truly beautiful family of spiders, definitely one of my favorites. Obviously very scary looking, but actually not that scary in real life. They don't have any potent venom that will affect a human being. Look, it probably hurts when they bite you, I've been told. They might have very strong jaws. I got bitten by a small golden orb once. It wasn't that bad. But she is beautiful. And I'm calling her a she because I know she's a she, because she is so much bigger than this poor little chap, who I'm going to try and point out for Dave. This poor little chap, right just above that, in that center portion of her web. Can you find it there, Dave?
I think so.
There. Over here.
We got him.
Got him. That is the male garden orb, bravely hanging out in the center of the female's web, hoping to potentially scrounge a little bit of food, and at the same time, maybe get lucky with her. But of course, getting lucky for male spiders may mean he has a chance to pass on his genes, may also mean he has a chance to become her next meal. And it really is touch and go. Sometimes it's both. It's touch and go for male spiders, and I've seen many of them, when the female comes rushing at them, all of a sudden just bungee jump out of the web itself. There's just one more thing I want to show you here, before we start going to those leopards. This strand down here is very clearly different to the rest of the web. And that's for a couple of reasons. One is it's obviously a very secure, strengthening center strand, or not strand really, it's several, holding together the center of the web. It's also to make the web slightly more visible to large animals. Things like birds, antelope, okay, they're less likely to come through this particular patch, but she doesn't really want to have to rebuild her web every time some hapless creature like us comes bumbling through. And so what she very kindly does is she basically posts a signboard that says, "Do not walk through here." And animals like birds, larger birds, and mammals, antelope that are sort of eye level with that, will see it and go around it. Then it really does work. It helps to keep their webs intact. How clever is that? Do not enter sign, basically, to stop herself from having to rebuild the whole thing every time. Now, Jenny, you wanted to know if that's a stinger on the end of her, well, the end of her abdomen. No, she doesn't have any kind of a stinger, but it is basically, I mean, I wish we could turn her around, but I don't want her to run away completely. She basically has serrations on the edge of her abdomen to make her look more intimidating. So they stand out very clearly. It also helps to make her look more like a leaf if she happens to run into some vegetation. So it's not a stinger. Her spinnerets sit just below that, the opening where she makes all of that web. So it's not a stinger. It does look like one though. I can totally see what you mean about that. And since Jenny's just kindly asked us a question, just a brief reminder that you can send through your questions using the hashtag safariLIVE on Twitter. So they say, and I've tried this before, but I've never tried it with an aeroplane. You'll understand what I mean by that in a moment. They say, if you take this golden strand of her web, this sort of, you can't really see it here. It's not slightly. The main strand that holds up her web itself. Perfect, thank you, Dave. If you take that strand and you fold it up many times, or if you were able to get it to a thickness of a pencil, you could actually stop a plane from taking off. And I'm talking about not a little biplane, I'm talking about a proper commercial liner. You'd be able to stop it just from that sheer tensile strength. And I've tested it, again, obviously not with an aeroplane, but I've tested it before with an abandoned web, where I took that and I folded it 4 times, 5 times, and we tried, all of us, to pull it apart. We tried pulling it apart with another person, wrapping it around our fingers, pulling. It is impossible to break. And it wasn't just me with my piddly little fingers. Some of the guys that we were trying with were big, strapping young men trying to pull that spider's web apart, and it just doesn't happen. That tensile strength is so powerful. That, of course, is why they're looking at using it as for Kevlar, for bulletproof vests, something that they're looking into engineering. Spider silk, one of the strongest substances in the world, and they produce it in their bodies. How amazing is that? Now, there's all sorts of powerful creatures out here. Let's go and have a look at some of the most powerful with Taylor.
We do indeed have some of the most powerful creatures, 3 of them to be exact, sitting in a mud wallow, which is wonderful. They're having a little animal bath at the moment. I don't know if I'd want to go and sit in that water though. It must be very, very stinky. Every now and then we get the odd whiff off of it, and I can tell you it is not pleasant. Though today I actually may be tempted in going to sit in that water, because the flies that are bothering me at the moment, or Craig and I, sorry, are a nightmare. But I'd have to have a reed of some sort with a little hole through it so that I could snorkel underneath that water and not to put even my head above the surface. You can see the flies are completely covering the buffalo, but if you're underwater, they're not underwater flies, which thank goodness for that, because otherwise, can you imagine not being able to get any relief at all? But the ears are constantly flicking. Every now and then you'll see a mud-soaked tail come out of the water and swat those flies, and also spray a bit of mud over their bodies. But it's not completely submerged. The pans are drying out relatively quickly. I think the best pans that we have on the property are actually the ones at Chile Pan. Not Chile Pan itself, but at Spaghetti Junction there's some mud wallows there that are quite deep, and I think that these 3 Duggar boys would enjoy that quite a bit. But it seems as though they haven't really, they have been spending, a lot of time in the mud. That one's got quite a bit of it caked onto its horns, and you can see how it's dried nicely in the sun, and then it peels off. And just taking a moment just to relax, just to regurgitate all of their food, chew the cud, and then swallow it again. Having a great old day. And then there's one buffalo in the middle that's not actually doing anything but having a siesta, and using this big buffalo bull on the right as a pillow, I suppose. Is that a very comfy pillow that you've got there? It doesn't look very comfortable. I suppose these animals don't know comfy like we as humans know comfy, so they will settle for anything. But this is fantastic, and they've probably been sitting here for most of the day. And they're not particularly old boys. I think the oldest buffalo that we can see here is not this one, but the one that it's resting its head on. If you look at this one's horns, you can see they're a little bit blunt, but not too bad. The ones on the right, though, there's no sharp edges on that at all. So that just tells me that he's been around for many, many years, and that's no good. That makes it very, very difficult if a lion does come around, and he'll be able to fight with a lion, but he won't have that sharp tip to his horn like the buffalo has on the left. You can see how sharp his horns are, and that will hook into a big predator such as a lion and cause extreme pain. Definitely would pierce the skin and make them run with their tails between their legs. You wouldn't want that hooked in you, and that's what they do. Is often they get lions when they do put their heads down and start throwing their heads up towards the air. They'll get the lions underneath sort of in the armpit. What happened there is the flies were bothering that buffalo, and he obviously tried to shake his head, and then I think he forgot that there was a bit of water there and just stuck his head underneath the water. Normally buffalo won't intentionally submerge their face. That was very funny. And that's what I love about nature, is that it is so raw. There are so many opportunities to just have a good laugh. Good giggle. That's amazing. Thank you, guys. You've already made me laugh once. Should we count how many times... Sorry, that was disgusting. That was really terrible. I had a fly, a big fly, and landing on my lip and me closing my other lip on top of it. That was terrible, but I got it out. I caught it and then I threw it away. I'm now going to talk with my hand over my mouth. And I think we should try and count and see how many times nature makes me laugh today. Because that's really what keeps me going out here in the bushes. As most of you know, I like to have a bit of fun. I'm not the most serious person. I enjoy lots and lots of laughter. And you always read these things that say, the more you laugh, the longer you'll live. And I hope that that's the case, because I think I laugh a lot more than the average person. So we're one up. And if you can keep tabs, it'll be great, and you can let me know at the end of the show if you want something to do. Perhaps you want a task to see how many times nature makes us laugh. And it doesn't have to just be me. You can do it with Jamie, you can do it with Brent. You don't have to tell them, though. We won't tell them. We'll just catch them off guard when they start to giggle. I'm sure you'll be surprised to see how many times we laugh. Here, buffalo did exactly the same thing again and stuck his face underwater. Here we go, munching, munching. Very, very hungry buffalo. But of course, as the sun goes down a little bit later, and when it cools down, probably in the next hour or so, these buffalo will get out and go and continue grazing for the last little bit of light. And well, that's when it becomes fun for the predators. Now, as we sit here, look at the strategic way that they're sitting. It's quite amazing. You've got the buffalo on the right, he's looking west. The buffalo on the left is looking east, and then there's one that's just taking advantage of his two lookouts and is having a siesta. Now, Dominique, you were actually wondering how good is a buffalo's sense of smell and their eyesight. Their eyesight is not too bad. It's always quite difficult to try and guess, but buffalo often pick you up and spot you from a distance. Their sense of smell is incredible. I think that their sense of smell is much more sensitive. Look at that big schnoz. Isn't that a big nose? And you can see it's wet, so they're healthy. Very much like your dog at home, how you would check to see if your pets are healthy or not. You can do the same thing with a buffalo. And in winter we actually saw a lot of crusty, dried up noses, but that's because they were very, very malnourished. That's not the case anymore. So yes, their sense of smell is pretty good. I would say their eyesight is better than a rhinoceros eyesight, somewhere between a rhino and an elephant's eyesight. So not too bad. But of course they don't just keep relying on one sense. They use all their senses in conjunction with each other, and it's the same goes with all the animals. Is, for instance, an elephant with its super sensitive sense of smell may pick up a scent. Then what it does is it will turn its body toward, and the same thing goes with the buffalo. It may hear something or smell something. It then will face its body towards where that scent or sound or wherever it spots something is coming from, and they will stare, and then they'll use their other senses with whichever is their favorite, the hearing, sense of smell all together, and then by doing that, then they're then able to identify, that is a lion that is coming. Because sometimes this light can be a little bit terrible. I thought I heard maybe some elephants, but it's not. I think it's just the wind rustling some leaves. Is that if a buffalo, for instance, at dusk, that terrible tricky light, it's fading, it's hard to see. You know what it's like for us. They're staring in the distance. They can sort of see something moving around. It could be a kudu, it might be a lion, not sure. And then that's when their hearing and their sense of smell will come into play. So I suppose it depends also at different times during the day. Buffalo, you have been wonderful. Thank you for making me giggle and providing a game with us this afternoon. Kirsty's asking me what is in the hand. You know, I'm putting studying on, Kirst, if you must know. That was a bottle of sun cream in my hand. Just before I got here, I was applying some more because the sun is very strong and I don't want to burn my sensitive skin. But I put it down now, Kirst. I've stopped fiddling. Oh, an oxpecker's joined the party. Hello, oxpecker. You're a bit late. 2 oxpeckers, an adult and a juvenile. You can see the one on the right is still lacking the pigment around the eye and on the bill. It will only get that in a couple months' time. Now, it's just the 2 of them, which is unusual. Normally, you'll see mom and dad and then a couple of offspring, but perhaps they're just a bit far behind and feeding on a couple of other animals. Oh, the grasshopper just jumped on my shirt and then it left me. And they'll love this. They're not just going to feed off of this buffalo now. They will utilize it to drink water as well. And I think it's one of the funniest things to do. And if you are a photographer, it's probably one of the more interesting shots, I suppose you could call it, that you could get of a oxpecker dangling off a buffalo, preferably on the tip of its nose, holding on for dear life, stretching down and taking a sip of water. Hello. And this little one, this juvenile, will learn, it will mimic the behavior of the adults. And eventually, it'll learn everything that it needs to. Hi, guys. It's a bit hot today. That might be something to look for, and I'm sure Brent will hopefully be looking for the same thing, seeing as though he's going to be doing a bit of birding, is to perhaps try and find some birds that are having a water bath. We saw that red-billed hornbill having a dust bath yesterday. Maybe we'll find some Cape glossy starlings. Those are my favorite birds to watch and have a bath. they're usually not too shy, and they're comfortable with the vehicles. And if they do splash about properly, it really is quite a sight. So we'll check a couple of puddles today for something along those lines. And then don't forget, I'm watching and waiting for a cloud as well to start developing that looks like something. You can't just make this stuff up. You've just got to, of course, stare into the distance and look at something first time around and hope that it looks like something. But nothing yet, just normal clouds so far. But we're going to move off from these buffalo now. We're going to go searching around and see what else we can find. We're going to look for the starlings, of course. I'm going to send you across to Jamie, who's also found herself near a watering hole.
A water hole mercifully devoid of buffalo. Unfortunately, devoid of leopard cubs as well, at least as far as I can see. So this is the pan where Shongile and Hosanna were last seen on this morning's sunrise safari. Dave, I just had the weirdest image of you falling into that pan as you walked. It was such a weird image. I could just see it happening in my mind's eye. So this is where they were. They love this pan. Hosanna used to like to hide under that buffalo thorn. He can't anymore because that's where the water level is. But it's a really picturesque spot. There's a beautiful big shady jackalberry combined with a boerbean, which produces the best shade in the business, we know, because we've sat there many times watching the cubs enjoy their shade. So they're here somewhere. Shongile's tracks go towards, there's a whole series of pans around this area. That seep line that you saw or that actual seep, that spring, coming up through from Treehouse Dam with Steph on this morning's sunrise safari, that's all connected to this area and this particular seep line. So there's pans that go all the way up to the north of us. That's where we've seen the bullfrogs and their chaotic mating, and then the tadpoles trying to crawl out of them. And then there's these two pans here. And Shongile's tracks are next to invisible, but they go that way. I'm going to take Herbie's word for it because he's the one who saw them originally. They go towards that second pan. And we're just checking around to see whether Hosanna's not watching us from the shade. I have no doubt he is watching us. I think both of them probably did watch us walk right past. Let's go and just check the junction, because Karula went south over to Little Gowrie, and she might have come back to collect them, although Herbie went in that direction earlier, so I think he would have let us know. And just to explain to our new viewers, when you do meet Herbie, when he hasn't disappeared, Herbie basically accompanies us for security purposes, but also just to help us find things. But when we're talking to you, particularly at the moment when the grass is so long, you saw, those buffalo could be lying in that pan. When we're talking to you, we're taking your questions, we're listening with one ear. Obviously, we're not paying as much attention as we should be. So what Herbie does is he goes ahead of us and he makes sure that we're not about to walk into something dangerous. He just makes us aware of their presence. So I'm checking very carefully in the road here for tracks. Usually when our leopard cubs cross, or our leopards full stop, the royal family, they walk straight down the middle of this junction. That's not to say they'll always do it, but it does become, especially now with the grass this long, it becomes quite a nice, predictable pattern. And it's nice to have predictable patterns with leopards, because we don't usually have that, do we, Dev? Just want to check if it's just a funny growth on the marula tree, or if it's a leopard cub. No. Oh, it's Herbie behind us. How did you do that, Herbie? There we go. So there's Herbie, everybody. And Herbie, waving hello. Herbie, we're just introducing you and explaining how you help us.
And the lovely shorts.
And the lovely shorts. The lovely shorts and the nice gaiters. But no blue suede shoes, Herbs. No blue suede shoes today. Herbie has the best smile of any man ever, hands down, flat out. And now we're embarrassing him, shame. Did they cross?
No.
No, that's good.
And let's go straight to the quarry.
Cool.
We'll come back.
Perfect. Oh God, just choked on some panicum. I'm fine, thanks. It's my fault for chewing on panicum seeds while I'm trying to talk at the same time. They taste like oats, you see. So it's basically like having handy granola bars spread out for you along your path. You can just grab a little bit and eat it. But sometimes you get the parts of the plant, the sort of the fibers of the plant. And that's what I managed to inhale while speaking to you. I'm fine, don't worry about me. I'd show you panicum grass, but now, of course, because I said that, there isn't any. Which is very sad, because I've just finished my lunch. There we go. That's panicum grass for our new viewers. Should I get it out of my shade? Yes. I'm very glad I didn't eat that one, Dave. Do you know why? There's a spider web on it. Oh my goodness, indeed. I'm very glad I did not eat these seeds. So that's what I choked on. Okay. Is that oxpeckers or helmet shrikes? Helmet shrikes. You won't be able to see them. And the reason I'm listening is it's very important when we're out here to listen to the warning sounds of the bush. Oxpeckers, you saw with Taylor, sit on buffalo. Look, they also sit on impala and inyala and giraffe. But when you hear oxpeckers, particularly in large numbers, it pays to just be a little bit more cautious. So where we're going now is a quarry, where they used parts of the soil to spread across the roads. So there's a sort of a dugout bit. The leopards love it. It's like going to, I don't know if any of you ever did this as a kid, I certainly did. It's like going to a building site as a child and playing around in the half-built building and playing in the piles of sand. It's kind of like that for the leopard cubs. They've got a really nice place to run around and practice their skills, which Hosanna and Shungile love to do. There's a tree there, Dave. Poor Dave has got a 2-meter antenna above his head. Work those legs, Dave. Well done, Dave. And that's the way that we bring you the bushwalk signal, is by Dave carrying a backpack with a very large antenna that sticks up above. But it does mean that's the other thing that we're looking for, is to make sure that our poor cameramen don't have to walk through something low and overhanging. Sorry about that, Dave. I apologize. Okay. Now Herbie says they haven't crossed here. Let's make our way slowly but surely to the quarry. I hope they haven't disappeared into the drainage. We are going to scour this area for our leopard cubs. I want to spend more time with them on foot, so I'm excited. But while we do that, Brent has travelled all the way to the far east. Not that far, but to Cheetah Plains. Let's go and find out if it is teeming with life.
Well, we're hoping to have a big birding bonanza, the killer bees big birding bonanza, starting on Cheetah Plains, working our way west back towards Chitwa. Now, there's quite a few bird species that we are missing. I'm hoping to get an Namakwa dove while we're down here. Ooh, small brown job, top of the tree. You get him, Brian? Turning around to face us. What have we got there? Oh, not such a small brown job. It's a golden-breasted bunting, and that is one that is not on our list so far. Lovely, lovely, lovely way to start the birding bonanza on Cheetah Plains. Now, often there are other birds around, so we just want to have a careful look before we move on. Now, of course, there are seed eaters, the buntings, and they must be loving this long grass. And lots of panicum seeds and Erogrostis seeds and all sorts for them to eat. B for bunting. Now, also, one of the other buntings, the other bunting we get here is the cinnamon-breasted bunting. And they are actually, we see them quite regularly on Cheetah Plains as well, around 3 in a row pan. Now, Brian and I are very excited to be down here because we are the only people on Cheetah Plains. Isn't that exciting? We've got this whole area to ourselves. Brown crown chagra. Boop. Hello, brown crown chagra. Jump. Oh, there we go. Lovely. See, this birding bonanza is starting with a bang. 2 species. The first 2 species we see are species we haven't got on the list yet. T for chagra. Now, of course, chagras are related to the shrikes, and they are quite little skulkers. You see them top of the tree. This could be a... Okay, just zoom. He's there, a little bit to the right. Oh, that's an interesting one. Very interesting call as well. Oh. That's a good, I think that's a good quiz bird, don't you? I think it's time to test your birding knowledge with an LBJ. If you know the answer to what this funny little brown job is, hashtag safariLIVE on Twitter. Very distinct call. So cool. Yeah, that's now I can hear a little tit babbler as well somewhere around. That is not a tit babbler, but that's going to be really hard to spot because they are often in the tops of trees. I just want to get a safety shot with my camera so we can have a look at the ID features once someone clever IDs it. Oh, I think he gave himself away there. Look at the legs. Look at the color of the legs. Okay, well, let's leave the little LBJ while you ponder what it is. We're going to keep moving. Ooh, Taylor's got a bird that's not on my list yet, so let's go see what it is.
Sadly, Brent is no longer with us anymore. I think it's Craig. If you go to the left a little bit, oh no, its head was popping out just over there. There it is. Hallelujah. I was worried we weren't going to see it. It is a Coqui Franklin, and it is quite a special Franklin. I think it's one of the most special Franklins to see out here in the bush. And it is a male, the one that was looking at us, and you can see the female that has just popped up at the back. And hopefully he'll make his call for us again, or reveal himself, because he's beautifully colored. But the call that he was giving off is a territorial call. So I think he's just alerting everybody that this is his area. I'm going to just reposition and see if we can get a view of them, because they are really lovely. Now I'm just at the fireside chat. That's why there's all those fallen logs there. This is the fireside chat. You can't hide from me. Where are you? I will get him. Where are you? There he is. You see, there he's just popping his head up. Well spotted, Craig. Beautiful coloration compared to the female with that sort of mustardy orange colored head. I don't know what color that is, but perhaps somebody's got a way to describe the color of the Coqui Franklin's head, and you are welcome to let us know. I'm always looking to add to my color palette, hashtag safariLIVE, with what color you think best describes the head of a male Coqui Franklin. But at least he had a female around here, so he wasn't courting. He wasn't trying to, he wasn't doing his courtship call, which is typically that Coqui, Coqui, Coqui call that you'll normally hear. So they've obviously been mating. Perhaps they've got a nest somewhere. This wouldn't be actually a very bad nesting site. Lots of fallen logs around here, which would help save them. Okay, Jamie says that burnt orange is the description that she would use to describe the coloring of a Coqui Franklin. Kirst, what is yours? Yes, yeah, Kirst has always got the best answers. Let's see if her color palette is on form. Oh, Kirsten's got to think. Okay, well, Kirsten, we'll give you a few minutes to have a think. Now, you must remember this spot because I've come here very, very often. And I thought we would do something this afternoon that we haven't done for quite some time. We've had many new viewers joining us for the year of 2017. So thank you for your support and welcome. Now, you've only seen the property when it's nice and green after we've had all of this rain. I just want to shock you, to show you as to how dry it was. So for all our older, more experienced viewers that have been watching for quite some time now, please, can you take a screenshot of this lovely view? Remember the termite mound in the right-hand corner, and pair it up with a shot from one of the first days that we started doing this. So when it was really bare. So I suppose, can't even remember when we did start doing it, but we did it for quite some time. I think it was November, maybe even earlier, October. We started doing screenshots, and we'd love to just have a look and, like I said, and show everybody else, because I think people will be completely shocked when they see something like this, and compared to how green it actually is. The grass is so nice and tall, even at the beginning of the year when we started to have all the rain, the grass didn't get to this length. It has really taken that extra 100 mils that I think we've had to get it to this point. So we look forward, of course, to seeing all of those screenshots, hashtag safariLIVE with all of them, so that anybody that is chatting about will be able to see them quite easily. Right, that we've checked off of the list. We're still looking for starlings that are bathing in water. Ooh. So we've got a few answers coming through for the best described colour for the Coqui Franklin's head, or the male Coqui Franklin. Yes and Val, you have both said mango. Oh, the mango coloured Coqui Franklin. Very nice. I like mango. I think that's actually a very good way to describe the coloration of the feathers there. It's an interesting colour. Like I said, to me it's mustard orange. That's not very creative. And Kirst, have you thought of yours yet? Oh, I think Kirst might have the winner. Kirst has said her coloration description is caramel treat. I think that's lovely, isn't it? Very, very nice. And I like to play these little games and things like that. But actually, while we're here and we've got a good view on the distance, look at this. Look at these clouds. They are massive, really, really big. Sort of starting to form that mushroom effect, and this is one of about 6 that are forming in the sky at the moment. They are really, really big. I don't know if we're going to get any rain just yet though. It's still quite windy, which means that the clouds could move in a lot quicker. You can see, look at them, they're mushrooming and just heading straight up into the air. And it's actually really pretty to watch something like this, and I don't know if any of you have ever done a time lapse of a storm coming in. That must be one of the most pretty things to see, especially if there's lightning and stuff forming in the distance. It's really, really beautiful. Oh wow, Craig, it's like cotton candy. And this is one of my dreams as a kid, was to skydive out of an aeroplane and then land on a cloud, because when I was little, I thought that they were completely solid. Now that I'm a sort of a grown-up, I know that this is not true, and I would not bounce around in those lovely fluffy clouds. I would fall straight through them to my death if I didn't have a parachute. So we won't be doing that, but we'll keep watching the clouds as we go about for any interesting ones, of course. Over there, nothing jumps to mind just yet. Ah, okay. So B, who is an old guest of mine, not an old guest of mine, but B and her husband actually got married, and I was the ring bearer. Can you believe that? It was so cool, it was so amazing to be a part of their wedding. On the reserve, it was the most spectacular and glamorous. She looked beautiful. It was really quite lovely, and I got to be a part of that, so thank you for that. So B, you've said that rust color is also another word you could use to describe the color of a male Coqui Franklin's head. That's also lovely. So thank you, all of you who have sent through or taken the time out to think of a color. I really do appreciate it. I will be using them. They're now added to my color palette. I like the caramel treat. That was really good, and I've also very much enjoyed the mango color. And I can't say mango normally, because there was a television ad in South Africa. It was the funniest thing for a cool drink, like a cordial that you would add water to, and they would sing the different flavors, and each flavor had a different voice, and it was what? Do you remember that, Craig? Do you remember what I'm talking about? And they would start off by going, oh, and then mango, fruit cocktail, oh. O was for orange. But yes, and it was very funny, and these fruits were bobbing up and down, and they had all different ones, and everybody had a different voice. And I'll never forget, it was like the greatest thing at school, especially in primary school, if you could come to school and you could recite all the different voices and in the exact order. There must have been about 12 or 15 different flavors or something ridiculous, but they used to sing them all. It was lots of fun. Very silly, but that was just a little memory that popped up into my head. It was nice. It's a little reminiscing session. My tongue twisted there. Craig, let's go on your favorite road. This is Craig's favorite road, Zoe. Why is it your favorite road? It is your favorite road because every time we drive here, you always say to me, Taylor, please can we drive on Zoe's? It's probably not Craig's favorite road. It just sounded more interesting. Craig, it's the same thing as calling the head of the Cokie Franklin rather than just saying yellow, saying mango or one of those colors. So you got to tell a better story, I suppose. Well, that's what my dad always taught me, but yeah, you know what, things dads things dads say. That's probably a hashtag somewhere, and I reckon you could have a chuckle at something like that. Now Brent is birding, Jamie's looking for leopards, we're looking for bathing birds and interesting clouds. Maybe we'll go to Arathusa a little bit later. I don't want to shoot onto the property right now because I know that it's always super busy for the first 2 hours of drives, all the vehicles cycling through, the lion sightings. You see the guests are arriving in the afternoon. Now pretty much every time in a lodge. So this could be a new set of guests' first safari, and it would be so exciting for guests to see something like a lion, whereas we really want to see them getting up and moving around a bit. So we're going to keep searching and probably start heading that way a little bit later. But I'm going to send you across to Jamie, and she's got something. She won't tell us what it is. So you're just going to go and have to take a look.
I'm pretty sure you can guess exactly what we've got. A really stunning surprise for all of you, and in such a perfect position. Kind of pretty much where we expected them to be. I'm relatively certain that we're looking at Hosanna over there. This looks like it might be... It's hard to see across the light reflecting off the pan. I'm just standing up ever so slightly. It looks like Hosanna to me, from what I can see. Let me come and look over Dave's shoulder. How's your view there, Dave? You want to come this side. The water is reflecting the light quite powerfully across at us. But look how gorgeous that is. And not bothered in the slightest. Sorry, Dave, I'm trying to see who it is. Who's that, Kirsty? I can't see with the light reflecting. Looks like Hosanna to me, surely, unless Shungile has suddenly grown. No, hold on. That head just lifted up. Yo. Come. Herbie's saying we can go round. Let's go round. This is so special. Gosh, we are lucky. Should we come round here, Dave? Hello, my boy. Hey. You see, it's okay. It's okay. Now, Hassan is slightly less confiding than Shungile, but it's nice to have him on foot as well. He takes a little bit longer to relax. I'm just going to move that so we don't make too much noise. So he knows we're here, and what we're doing is known as presenting ourselves. And Dave, if what you can do is come here, and we can actually sit on the termite mound so that we're not as prominent. Hopefully Shungile is not lying on the other side, Herbs. Is it Shungile? Yeah, it does look like she's got quite a small head. Hello, my girl. I can't tell who it is with this bright light reflecting across the water. I'm not 100% sure. That head looks a bit small for Hosanna at this side. From this angle. No, surely that's Shungile. Gosh, she's grown. Hey, sweet girl. Herbie's nodding. He confirms it's Shungile. Gosh, she's got big. She's got so big. That means her brother is somewhere around here watching us, probably. Look at that. Fast asleep. We've been so lucky with these leopard cubs. They have been so confiding in us. And these next few weeks are going to be our last opportunity to do this. We won't be able to spend this time with them when they're adults. This behavior will change completely, and they'll become a completely different kettle of fish, just like our hyena cubs. Oh, see how comfortable she is with us. Personally, I've never ever had a connection like I have with these leopard cubs, just in terms of the time I've spent with them. And the way that we spend time with them. Now, Joy, you want to know why is it okay to be on foot with leopards or lions? Joy, it very much depends upon the situation. So if it is a situation where you're walking around at night, it's not okay. You'll die. But it's okay with lions. You never push it. You try to find them on foot. You track them on foot. I have actually spent time with lions comfortably on foot where there's a nice, safe position for us to be in. And they don't actually mind you too much because they don't feel threatened in any way. Now, I know that a lot of people have expressed, no fly, now's not the time. This is profound. Don't want to be interrupted by a fly up my nose. I know a lot of people have expressed the sort of worry that we're going to habituate them and that's going to place them at risk. Not here. Fortunately, not in this particular area. There's no threats to leopards or lions by poachers in this particular spot. They're the most protected. These are probably the safest animals you can find in Africa. They're so very, very safe. And when poaching does happen, it doesn't happen by people moving through and approaching them like this in broad daylight on foot. It's an entirely different scenario. So it's okay, provided you know what you're doing and provided you don't abuse it. And remember, we've been doing this for years and years. So there's a lot of signs that we're looking for, even subconsciously, although I can tell you a few of them. Obviously, if she was showing any signs of discomfort now, I would be moving us all out, calling the vehicles in, which we will do. But it is something that's not bothering her at all. And it really just emphasizes and I actually hope dispels this idea that leopards and lions are just savage, unthinking creatures, because they're clearly not. And it's easier for you to understand the fact that when we say that we're not on their menu, we're not on their menu. We might be, if it were at night, absolutely, or for an badly injured leopard, but that would happen regardless of whether or not we walk them in the way that we do in the middle of the day. It won't change their behavior. The only time a leopard is really, really dangerous is when it's injured and it's sick, and it can be the wildest leopard in the planet, and that is when it becomes dangerous. It will start to frequent human habitation areas because that's inevitably where they find the easiest access to food. This is so stunning. She's just completely unconcerned. Now, Rita, you say, why are leopards always alone? Where is their family? She's actually probably not. In fact, I have no doubt somewhere around here, possibly sneaking up towards us, behind us, hey Herbie, is her brother Hosanna. But leopards are by nature solitary. They are solitary cats. That is just how they are. That's how they've evolved to be. The only time you will find them together, really, with limited exceptions, is if it's a female mating with a male or if it is a family. Now, we usually see this particular leopard, she's 13 months old. We usually see her with her brother Hosanna and with her mother Karula, and that's because they are just over a year old, so they're not ready to become independent yet. They're still dependent on their mum. That's why I say these are the last few chances that we have to actually do this, to actually spend time with them, because soon they're going to start becoming adults, they're going to start becoming independent, and they're going to move off, possibly outside of an area that we can follow them, which is something that is sad to contemplate, but at the same time joyful that we've still got to have these experiences to look back on. So leopards are naturally solitary. They're not like lions. You don't get a pride of leopards. You get a leap of leopards. Hey, Taylor. You get a leap of leopards altogether. I'm actually wondering whether the other one might not be... Oh, its sun is blinding. Might not be in the shade as well. Just behind her, possibly. I thought I saw a flash of movement. Not sure, though. Where's the clouds when you need them, Dave? I know, it's very bright. But look at this. You can see the leopard is not concerned by us at all. Some people are also worried that they will then disperse to an area where they might be poached if we habituate them like this on foot. They're not going to be like this when they're adults. We won't ever be able to do this once they're fully grown. When they're ready to disperse, it could be Hosanna. I really can't. Honestly, Dave, can you see that? Do you want to show them the reflection on the water? I can see a pile of spots lying down there. Shall I come have a look on your side, Dave? Sorry, Herbie. We're all doing shifting round on the termite mound. We're playing pass the parcel. That little nick out of the ear. Is that a nick out of its left ear, Kirst? I think it is Hosanna. I think it might be Hosanna, Herbs. Yeah, got a little nick out of his right ear. And thank you to Hey It's Me, who's pointed out the black under its eye. I'm basically now leaning my head on poor Dave's chest and completely obscuring his shot, his view of his shot, to try and see. And Hey It's Me says you can see the bow tie and the black under his eye. Hosanna has a nick on his ear that I think I can see on this ear in front of me, at the top there. His brother Quarantine, interestingly enough, also has a nick out of his ear, a little notch. I think it's the other ear though. Oh, Dave, I'm starting to get jealous of this leopard cub in that nice shady spot. Herbie, do you think if we went round that side, if we go round to that side and sit near the water, oh, with this cover, with the grass. No, it's fine. We can put up with the light in our eyes, can't we, Dave? For time spent with a leopard cub on foot. I'm going to be very sad when we don't have these cubs anymore, Dave. It's going to be devastating. It's hard to imagine them setting aside their cub-like ways and moving off, and potentially never seeing each other again, in the case of Hosanna and Shogile. He's so sleepy. He's absolutely fast asleep. Herbie's making me laugh. We're distracted now. We're standing on the termite mound. We're all crushed together on the termite mound. And there's a pair of ants that are playing. Herbie, your laugh's infectious. Can you get these, Dave? They're playing tug of war. They're not working very well as a team at all. One's got one end of whatever it is that they want, the other's got the other end, and the slightly smaller ant is being dragged along. Sorry, Dave. Sorry. There we go. Can you see them there? Doesn't help that the end of my grass is blowing in the wind. You got him. I know, I'm sorry, I know we have a leopard cub on foot, but at the same time, Herbie started to laugh and then I started to laugh. Because they're not working well as a team at all. They keep going backwards and forwards. And we're going to enjoy a little bit more time spent with Hosanna since he's being so obliging. In the meantime, Cheetah Plains has got some amazing general game. Let's go and have a look.
Well, we're out on the southern open area. There's a lovely herd of zebra. But we saw Gnorman, the GNU, and he's got some girlfriends! Yay for Gnorman! There he is, standing up. It looks like him standing up. It's a bit far for us to see. Oh, that zebra looked like it escaped from a lion. You see that, Brian? Yeah. It's got a big rip in its bottom. That could actually just be a bite from another zebra. But Gnorman's got some girls. And, of course, wildebeest have a very similar rutting season to impala, so they're going to start all their shenanigans shortly in the month of March going into May. Oh, what is that in that far away distance? It is a cheetah stump, not a cheetah. We've seen, that's I think our third cheetah stump with this grass. Oh, we've got some little seed eaters flying. Let's see where they land. Where are you going, birdies? Not stopping. I don't think we're going to get an idea. I think they were quailias, but we're not going to count that. Now, of course, the last time we saw the cheetah was disappearing in that direction. Well done to James, who got it spot on. That mystery bird atop of the tree was indeed a rattling cisticola. Okay, now come on, cheetah. Brian says he hasn't seen cheetah in ages, over a year. So we're looking for cheetah very carefully at the moment, hoping to find one reclining in the shade. Oof, it's windy here, which isn't great for our bird challenge. What do we got there? A little flock of something fighting the wind. Again, difficult to see. Let's see if they land. Oh, still fighting the wind. No, they're not stopping. They're a bit too far away for us. Well, we're just going to keep moving slowly through here. And you must always... Oh, I can hear a bird that's not on my list. A Swanson's spurfowl making a racket, and of course we're surrounded by the monotonous call of the monotonous lark. Where is that spurfowl that was calling? It sounded like it's underneath that big acacia there. Quack, 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 quack. Okay, where is this Franklin? Now, of course, in certain parts of Africa, you get red-billed quailias in their millions, and they're the most numerous bird species in the world. James was wondering, how did they become so successful? Well, James, they found a niche, and they really just took over. They outcompete by just being a sheer mass of numbers. So even though they might have competition from other seed eaters, there's no seed eater that moves around in flocks of that size, which enables them to completely dominate. So they will go through an area. It's our fourth cheetah stump. Oh, is that a fifth cheetah stump as well? Yes, indeed. Cheetah stump number 5. Oh, I heard that spurfowl, did you? Quack, 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 quack. Not the nicest call, but a nice bird. Normally, they'll try a call from somewhere where they can be quite exposed. Don't worry, James, I haven't forgotten about the quailias. So it's just that sheer massive numbers that enables them to do that. And there, it landed. Damn it! Took off and landed in the grass. We're not going to see him from here. That spurfowl. Somewhere there. Come on, pop your head up, Swansons. Oh, grass is too long. No, we're going to have to keep moving. But so, just by having that sheer massive numbers, they're able to outcompete other things, and also because they are mobile. I mean, they will migrate depending on the rains to different areas. The biggest flock of quailias I've seen is probably about 2 million. I mean, they actually sort of darken out the sky as they fly over. Saw that in a place called Lake Ngami in Botswana. This wind is not good for our birding challenge, Brian, but we shall persevere. Also check if there's any cheetah or sign of Mr. Q. Okay, we're just going to have a look around this corner. This is the corner where the Namakwa doves like to sit. So are we going to be lucky with a Namakwa dove? If not, we're going to go and see Jamie, who's still on foot with those leopards. No dove, so off to Jamie.
We've shifted around to try and get a better view of Hosanna, but at this point, his comfort levels with us are so great that he's fast asleep and invisible. Hey, Dave. Not ideal. Now, there are lots of vehicles that want to come and see him, so as much as I would love to spend the rest of the afternoon sitting by the side of a pan with a leopard cub in front of me, I feel as though that might actually be just a little bit selfish. So what we're going to do is we're going to call Taylor in and any of the other vehicles that want to see. Is it just Taylor, Herbs, for now? Okay, so we've got a little bit longer while we wait for Taylor to get here. And then as soon as we start to hear a vehicle, then we'll move out. And what I want to do, and I know that it's made Dave's life a little bit difficult, because at this point he's perched on the edge of this termite mound, looking as though at any second he's going to tumble forward into the water, which would not impress our tech team. Or David. But I was actually just waiting, because I know Hassan is going to get up and move relatively shortly. It's quite nice and cool this afternoon. Although the sweat dripping down Dave's face belies that particular. It's been getting cooler in the evenings quickly, let's put it that way. So I know that he's going to start to get up and move, because he's watching us, he's curious. And we've seen that natural curiosity at work with Hosanna especially. Shungila is just comfortable with us. Hosanna is less comfortable, he requires a bit more space. But he's more curious about what we're doing. And that's just naturally a male leopard cub thing. They like to do interesting things, they like to keep themselves entertained, and they like to come bolting out and stalk things, whether it's buffalo or elephant. Now, Liz, you want to know if it's the first time with these cubs on foot? Liz, it's not. The first time I did it live was with Hosanna in a tree off Twin Dams. That was when we went racing following the alarm calls. But every now and again, to keep ourselves entertained, we do go and spend a bit of time with the cubs when we're not on air as well. We're at a distance, but just sitting with them and enjoying their company, because it gives us this connection that sometimes in a weird way, not to get too deep about things, but in a weird way, sometimes I feel like we lose it a little bit. We're so busy thinking about all of the questions and the comments and the voices in our ears and talking to camera and eye contact and all of that. Sometimes I feel like we almost become disconnected, because we're so busy watching the animals through our monitors in the vehicles to see what you're seeing, that when we're live, we're hardly ever looking at the animal at all, unless the animal's doing something and we need to watch what they're doing or the situation around us. But we don't actually focus, and that's a dual thing. It's a good and a bad, because we've noticed things. Brent and I were talking about this. We've noticed physical features of leopards, lions, buffalo that we never even would have noticed before. We've become so good at spotting those little details. But at the same time, it's like being a photographer and forgetting to look at what you're actually photographing. You know what I mean, Dave? You must know what I mean as a cameraman. So to come out and to spend time away from doing these live shows, not that we don't want to share those moments with you, but just because we sometimes need to be out on our own out here. So no, it's not my first time. And I would quite happily spend the entire afternoon here if it were up to me. We could just sit, Dave admittedly not as comfortably as myself. But what we're going to do is we're going to sit and wait patiently for Taylor to get to us. However, she has been waylaid by something very large and thankfully not in this pan.
We are watching the ripples of a very angry hippopotamus. It's the same hippopotamus that you saw with Brent on the sunrise safari, and hopefully it will pop up because Craig is able to get the most fantastic shot. I don't think it will stay down for too long, but it was under the water, or it had its ears and its nose popped up, and you can see that bit of the shade that is being cast by the leadwood tree. So that's really the only shade that this hippo's got, with relatively decent sort of a depth of water. And it's going to come up now. You can see the ripples are coming. And then he moved closer towards us, as if to say, just sort of a warning, hey, this is my dam. Don't you even think about coming in here and taking it from me. And we've been seeing that a lot, which I don't know why they're behaving like this, because of the amount of water that's around. Normally they'll be a lot more relaxed. There he is. Oh, and he's got some impala coming to join him too. He's probably going to look towards them now because they're running at him. There we go. See how he's turned his attention towards the impala? See, look at him. He's moving. He's not a very happy hippopotamus. Don't be so unhappy with us. He did give us a snort. I gave him a snort back. He wasn't very impressed by that. The impala then started snorting. It was a snort off. It was terrible. There he is. Oh, impala. It was very funny. Now, all we need him to do is just carry on pivoting around because he's like a ballerina now. You see that he's doing synchronized swimming. Come on, look at us so we can get that awesome shot. It was the angriest looking hippopotamus I've ever seen. But he's watching the impala at the moment. And I wonder if the impala actually come down and have a drink, if he will move towards them to try and chase them away. Here he goes. He's going to turn. Are you ready, Craig? Almost. Ready, steady, go. And there he goes. Now he looks happy. Now he actually looks pleasant. He doesn't look too sad at all. And where's Henry gone? I'm really missing Henry. Henry was quite easy to tell the difference between because he had that big gash on his back. But also, we haven't seen Henry for months, so it'll be quite difficult to tell whether it is him, seeing as though they don't often submerge their backs, push their backs out of the water with all the water that's in the dams at the moment. It makes it a little bit difficult. I'm going to reverse a little bit. Actually, no, I think he might turn and look at us now. Let's go back. Let's get in line with him again so we can get that cool shot we had. Yes, now he watches us. There we go. Don't go under. Just stay for a little bit longer. Just literally poking the top of his eyes above the water, but he can hear us. They've actually got hairy ears. I didn't realize that. Look at all that hair on the edge of their ears. That's interesting. They don't have too much hair on their bodies, a hippo. It's just around their tails, really. Hello, beautiful boy, and most definitely a male hippo, all on his own like this, and acting territorial. So Zaz, you're wondering why hippos cannot swim. It's actually really, really interesting. I think it's just got to do with their size, and they don't seem to. No, they've got a lot of buoyancy. Like we see hippos swimming, not hippos. We see elephants swimming very well, and I've seen some amazing footage of the way that hippos swim. Whether they were. Actually, I don't know where this footage was taken, but it was glass, and you could see it was Indian elephants, it wasn't African elephants, and you could see them swimming completely submerged, just their trunks sticking up above the water. But they sort of tread water. It's almost like they're running, but underwater, and that keeps that momentum going. Hippos, why can't you swim? Well, come on, open your mouth now. Don't tempt us like that. They don't seem to move their legs quick enough, and maybe it's got something to do with the shape of their feet. They've also got tiny little legs too, whereas an elephant's leg is quite long if you think about it in relation to the rest of its body, whereas a hippo's got these short stubby things, so perhaps they just can't generate enough movement that allows them to propel themselves forward. So they sink to the bottom of the water, and then they walk. And then sometimes when the water's deep like this, is they're actually standing on their back toes. Their bottom is sort of facing lower down than their head. Repeat, you're wondering how long can hippos stay in the water? Let's watch him, because I think he might open his mouth for us, which will be wonderful. His mouth is in the water, and sometimes do open their mouths. He did a very half-hearted attempt as he went under. So sorry, Repeat, you're wondering how long can a hippo stay in the water? Underneath the water, they can hold their breaths for about 6 minutes or so, not much more than that. And they spend it depends also the area. They spend generally most of the day, at least 3/4 of their day in water, and then at night they come out to graze. But in Zambia, you'd see the complete opposite. I reckon in Zambia, especially in the Lower Zambezi National Park, the hippos were spending only maybe about 50% of their day in the water. So normally mid-morning when it's exceptionally hot, but early hours of the morning and later in the afternoon when the sun is not so harsh, you very often see them out grazing. But you see there, the vegetation becomes very, very scarce as well. I suppose quite similar to what we have out here. But the hippos have got to walk kilometers and kilometers to find grazing from the Zambezi River. And during the winter months, there is not a drop of rain. They get towards the end of the year, they start to get their rains, and then it normally finishes at about March, end of February, halfway through March, and then the camps open again in April. And they've got to move quite a bit. So you often, just as the rainy seasons are ending, you see those hippos out every single day trying to put on as much weight as I suppose they can in preparation for the harsh times. So our animals don't quite bulk eat like you see bears and things doing that hibernate, but they will eat a sufficient amount, because coming into the winter months when there isn't much food around, they lose a lot of condition very quickly. So you can imagine if you haven't picked up weight when there is a lot of vegetation around, you are going to struggle in the winter months. And we've seen that with the hippos. And definitely the buffalo, it is very, very, very sad. And I'm quite happy, and I hope that this rain does continue for quite some time so that we have a better chance of having a lot more grass throughout winter. Come on, open your mouth. He keeps going underwater and sort of opening. There he is. He's having a little play now. See, yay! Go hippo. We were just saying that. Thank you so much, hippopotamus, for doing that for us. We waited quite some time as he bobbed about. Let's see, he might do it again. He's being quite playful now. You need some friends. You need some ladies, I think. Is that all you've got for us? I think that means yes. I think he's saying, right, that is the show that I've put on for you. Thank you very much. Pay your money and off you go now. And well, speaking of off we go, I think we're going to go and try and follow up on those leopards. We're going to head towards where Jamie was and see if we can find them. And I'm going to send you across to Brent, who's all the way in Cheetah Plains doing all sorts of birding.
Well, not only are we birding, we're desperately searching for a cheetah for Brian. So far, no such luck, Brian. But it is absolutely gorgeous down here with the skies and the green grass and the clouds building. Here we go. I'm going to do one last gander down towards the Kruger boundary, and then we're going to head towards Chitwa. See what's happening there. Maybe we'll get some luck with Tundi and Tumba, or we are definitely going to go to the dam. I've been trying to get there and we just keep getting sidetracked. Crystal, hello. Crystal's wondering, how many cheetah roam in Cheetah Plains? Well, we see 2 males regularly, and I've seen tracks of a female, but I've never seen a female in Cheetah Plains. The only female I've seen was actually on Juma, on foot, while I was tracking, and she just disappeared into Torchwood, never to be seen again. Now, not so long ago, there were 3 cubs and 1 female cheetah, but seen on the Manyeleti boundary of Buffelshoek, so quite a long way away from our Travis area. But female cheetah are highly nomadic till they have cubs, and then only while they've got cubs do they remain only slightly more sedimentary before again taking on that nomadic lifestyle. So we see 2 cheetah regularly. Unfortunately, it would be nice to see a few more, but we don't. Today could be the day we see a cheetah we haven't seen. Wouldn't it be exciting to have a female with cubs? Oh, I haven't seen a cheetah cub in so long. They are very, very cute little straw balls. And when they're small, their back is almost the same color as the grass. That sort of dry grass to help camouflage them. But there's not even a track of an elephant on Cheetah Plains today. Only those wildebeest and zebra so far. And Kanyeni hasn't been seen for quite a while, and when she hasn't been seen for a long time, I always like to check this little road. I've found her on this road a couple of times. Woof, this wind. Now remember, if you've got any questions, hashtag safariLIVE on Twitter is the best way to get hold of us. We'd love to hear from you. Oh, yay, bird! That we haven't got on our list. Where did they go? Did they make an escape? No, they're a little bit to the right. I think there we go. Oh, white-crowned helmet shrike. Hello. Hello, you. One of our more common birds that we haven't got on the list. There we go. Hello, white-crowned helmet shrikes. Often called the Seven Sisters. Now, the reason for that is they are in flocks of 7. Strangely enough, most commonly in flocks of 7. Sometimes a few more, sometimes a few less. There you go. The 7 Sisters, the white-crowned helmet shrike. Shrikes. Let's go. Now, we're going to tick off our shrike and keep seeing if we can find anything else. I know Jamie's got to leave those leopards on foot shortly, so let's rush back to her.
We are indeed going to leave Hosanna as soon as another vehicle gets here. We definitely don't want them to come in while we're still sitting right here with him. According to Dave's camera distance thing, the focus point, camera distance thing. You could tell I would have been an amazing cam up, wouldn't I? The camera distance thing tells us that we are 18 meters away, or the camera is 18 meters away from Hosanna, so that's just under 60 feet. But this is the ideal position to be in, because he feels safe and we feel safe, because we've got a big pan in between the two of us. Not that we wouldn't be safe without it, but it does mean that we can be very, very relaxed in this situation, because he knows that we're not going to go racing across the pan, and we know that he's not going to come racing across the pan. Even Hosanna, with his amazing aquatic tendencies, is not going to be up to doing that and getting across to us. And it's that psychological obstacle that you find with all animals. If, for example, you're approaching an Ellie bull that has seen you and that knows you there, if you're out in the open, if you, rather than walking a straight line towards it, just put a nice big tree between you and it, a nice big fallen tree, it just has a way of making everything feel slightly more relaxed. So he's perfectly comfortable with us. I'm not pretending that I'm not visible, I'm not pretending to whisper or anything like that. I don't need to. We both know that we're here, and it's just a case of keeping that mutually respectful distance. I would never go much closer to him than this. If there was any further approach, at least not intentionally, if there was any further approach, especially Hosanna, it would have to come from his side rather than from mine. So if he were to come and start to walk towards us. Shongila, we've seen, if you can do it very slowly, you can comfortably get close to her. But I think Hosanna is a slightly different kettle of fish. And I noticed that the very first time I walked him, when we called Brent in on the vehicle, that was a mad race, remember that? When we heard the Impala alarm calling, and we found Hosanna, but we knew that, what's there, boy? What you seen? Is there a terrapin? Get the terrapin. Get the terrapin, it's okay. We won't mind. We won't mind. How cool is this? This is so amazing. Hey, my beautiful boy. Yes. You're looking all dopey and sleepy. Did you have a funny dream, maybe? What did you see? I said this yesterday, and I stand by it. I think he prefers the company of his sister more than she necessarily prefers his company. He seems to seek her out. And the two of them call to each other when they lose each other. And you'll probably find that when Taylor gets here, you'll see them doing it when they start to reunite. Rachel, speaking of that sibling bond, and it's very affectionate at the moment, apart from when one of them gets slightly overwrought with excitement and gets too boisterous, but it is very affectionate at the moment. But you're wondering, The age-old question, will they remember each other years from now? We don't know. We don't ever know what goes on in leopards' minds. I certainly think that an offspring and a mother would remember each other, clearly, or know each other, even many years down the line. As for siblings, personally, I think so. I suspect so. I think that bond, not necessarily bond, because that bond is broken, but that knowledge is cemented when they are so young, and they spend basically 2 years of their lives with each other. So yes, I think they would remember, but the question from there is, would it stop them from behaving differently? And the answer is no. If it were 2 male cubs who were brothers, they would fight each other. If it were a male and a female, they would mate with each other, if the female happened to be an estrus. So it wouldn't change their behavior, their adult behavior in any way. But personally, and nobody will ever be able to, until we can actually read leopards' minds, nobody will ever be able to disprove that. I mean, even with Shadow and Karula, when they meet each other on the boundaries, or when Shadow's mating with Tingana and she comes into Karula's territory, they get cross with each other. I think you'll know. The other question, of course, is, do leopards of different generations recognize each other? Do Shimbambalan and Quarantine know that they're related to each other, that they're brothers? Does Quarantine know that he's... I don't know. I have no idea. You think they do?
Yeah.
Herbie thinks they do. Have you seen them behave differently with each other?
I've seen them rejoining.
You've seen them rejoining? Even different generations? Oh, cool. 3 generations altogether. That's awesome. Cool. I'm going to get Herbie to tell me the story in full. And while we wait for Taylor to get here in the vehicle, let's go across to Brent, who's having a fantastic birding afternoon.
Well, there we go. It's the missing Swanson spurfowl who's making his way straight towards us. Hello, Swansons. Embarrassed now. Now, the wind, for some reason, is literally picked up. It is gusting quite heavily at the moment. And I know Jamie had that wonderful warthog family, and I've seen them before around the Cheetah Plains Pan, and they just came running off and covered quite a bit of distance. So I want to go back to see where we saw them a bit earlier, to see maybe if it's Mr. Q that's given them a fright, or could it be the male cheetah? Or it could just be this wind and they're like, heck no, I don't want to be out here. Something's going to eat me. I'm going home early today. But fingers crossed, it's a big cat. And for Brian, fingers crossed, it's a cheetah. Ooh, Chai Connie is wondering how many birds do we need to hit the 100 goal before Sunday. I think we're about halfway there, more or less. Let's have a look. We're on 53. So we need 47 bird species. Now, we did see the Namakwa doves, but they were too quick for us today. Is that a drop of rain? It is. What are you doing, One Cloud? One Cloud, and not even a very big one, is spitting at us. It's a very, very rude cloud. Let's have a word with it, Brian. Have a word with it. Another one. And they keep landing on my knee. Okay, so we just want to keep an eye out. This is great big cat hunting with this gusting wind. And it'll mean a lot of animals are not going to be able to use all their senses. Oh, thank you, Brian. Oh. For some reason, I've never been able to do little sneezes. They always come out as sort of cannons. Okay, so this is the area we saw the warthog in earlier, and I mean, in a short space of time, they covered a very big distance. There is always the possibility there is another sounder of warthog, but I think it's unlikely to be 2 females and 5 babies. Again, well, not unlikely, just improbable. Now, what we want is to see a cheetah sleeping next to the cheetah plains pan. Now, it was that warthog family. Okay, while we do a quick reconnaissance around this area, let's go to Taylor and Jamie.
We do have Jamie. Have a look. There's Jamie just sitting over there. Let me move out the way. He's waving, sitting on the termite mound. So what we're going to do in a moment, Jamie's actually going to pull out. I'm going to go onto the other side of that termite mound, and I think we'll get a view of Hosana. It's a little bit tight where he's sitting. Right, let's go. Craig, are you ready? Over this tree we go. We're going to have to go over a fallen log. Yeah. And jump. Come. There we go. Good jigger. Listened very well. We've got another one. It's like horse riding. I'm doing a cross-country event out here at the moment. This was about 4 strides. Up. There we go. Good horse. Gets the little pat. David's now filming us, filming him. It's ridiculous, the things we do out here. Oh, we're going to get such a nice view. Ah, I'm going to Jamie's view. Hi. Hello. I'm going to show you a leopard. And here we are. We have got a leopard. Well done to the bushwalk team. That is fantastic. Craig, can you see them there? There they are, laying in the long grass. So what we're going to do is basically we're almost equal distance away from the leopard as Jamie is. Jamie's just a little bit further to the right of us, but you can see she's literally just on the other side of the pan. There they are. How cool is that? And to have a natural barrier like this little pan is quite something, and definitely the leopards will be very relaxed with it because they have got this natural pan in front of them. The same thing would go if it were an elephant. If there was an elephant drinking water on the other side and you were to sit up on that termite mound again with a natural barrier, it would be fantastic. You would have a really, really good sighting. And you can see Hosana's watching Jamie as they move off, but barely taking note at all. So not only are we, he's a little bit curious, but I think he's just trying to suss us out. And what are you doing here? Why are you watching us? But they are completely safe. Hosana is relaxed. He's just, of course, curious. And he'll pop his head back down as if nothing was even there. And that's what I think is so special as to what we're doing, is that you are all watching this amazing process. You watch the cubs from the day that Brent first found them, when they were all still almost wet on their coats, and when they started coming out for the first time, to eating their first meal. It's so exciting. And now you're seeing the process of how relaxed they've become around the vehicles and now also on foot. This is really, really amazing. You can see Mike is also just coming into the sighting. It's actually going to be very difficult for him to get a shot. He might actually have to come and squeeze around here where I am as well. So what we'll do is in between segments, we'll give Mike a turn to come and pop through over here and take this best spot, and then we'll pull off to the side. He's curious. He even listens to the vehicles. Now he's lost interest in Jamie, Dave, and Herbie. Now he's watching Mike come in. Hey, just checking to see where they've gone. And normally when the habituation process starts, they almost become quite uncomfortable with the cars. It's actually quite difficult. I don't think Mike's going to get a view. Let me tell him, Mike, I think if you maybe go around and come in on that 2-track and park your nose at the edge of the water, you'll get a clear view of him. There you go. Just giving Mike a little bit of advice, because the position that we've got, it's a bit tight to fit another vehicle. But it's not the first time that we have seen them at these pans before. So there's an old 2-track just to the left of me off a Treehouse Dam Road. I think Mike makes his way out. Got a much larger vehicle than I do. Give a nice non-obstructed view of the leopard as well. It's actually a nice spot, and it's very, very scenic, especially with the water in front. Now I'm just making sure. I wonder where Shongololo is. Where is Shongile? She must be here somewhere. Also, as we know, it's not uncommon to see them sort of split up and go their ways. The storm is coming. The clouds are brewing over the top of us, but no rain just yet. Not just yet. And then Herbie was saying that he had Karula's tracks as well. They were where were they? They were going just north from here, so that's exciting, which means that she has probably gone off to look for another meal. And I don't know if anyone's mentioned as to what they caught this morning. Perhaps Brent has already told you, but it sounded like they caught a common daker last night. So that's not much of a meal for these cats, well, for 3 leopards. Definitely not a big enough meal. Munched that. And now she's looking for something else. Oh, Hosanna, you've got a beautiful set of pearly whites, don't you? Ah, okay, so you didn't hear what she caught. So yes, so it was a common daker. Even a fully grown common daker is really not much of a meal. I reckon these days Hosanna would be quite happy to eat that entire thing all on his own. Hey, wouldn't you? And who can blame him? Like I always say, he's a teenage boy, he's growing. He needs to eat as much as he can. And I hope he does, because we want to see the biggest male leopard in this area. And maybe one day, imagine one day Hosanna makes his return. The chances of something like that happening are actually quite slim. He will probably go so far away he'd never venture into this area when he became a dominant male leopard. But you've seen it with Tingana. Tingana traverses over 5 or 6 different properties, absolutely no problem. And so does one of my favorite male leopards that I used to see on a regular basis, Mashabeni. He used to do the same thing. He'd go to Londlozi, then he'd be in the southern sector near the Paul Kruger Gate. I only saw that once, but it was still quite impressive. And there we go. I think Mike has got a nice view of this leopard too. But it is hard, especially when he ducks his head like that. There's absolutely nothing you can do to see him over the long grass. That is just one of those things. And he will be a little bit quiet, especially if he hasn't got his sister to play with him. Now he's just going to roll around and be a very sweet kitty cat. But I think we'll have to keep this sighting a 2-vehicle sighting. Unfortunately, we won't be able to fit any more in. Elizabeth, you've said that Hosanna and Shongile have grown so much. Definitely, Elizabeth, I wonder when did you last tune in and watch the show? Because if it hasn't been for a couple of weeks, then yes, my goodness, the change must be completely drastic and you must be quite shocked. But Elizabeth, wait till you see them together. Last night we actually had a fantastic sighting. In the end, Karula came back and fetched the cubs just before she took them to a kill on Buffelshoek. Hook. And to see the 2 of them standing next to their mother, you can still see Shongile is much smaller than Mom. But Hosanna, my goodness, he's almost exactly the same size. Like we keep saying, he definitely weighs more than his mother now. But back to sleep he goes. That's what boys like to do, don't they? Full belly or fullish belly. He had a meal last night. Biting flies, just sitting in the long grass. Waiting for it to cool down, waiting for Mom to return to take him to something to eat. And hopefully we'll see that interaction a little bit later. But we're going to sit here for just a little bit longer to see what happens. And hopefully something will happen. But we're going to go back across onto Brent's vehicle now. And Brent, I wish you all the luck with your bird challenge.
Well, thank you, Taylor. It's so very kind of you. Now, we checked where those warthogs were, and there was no sign of anything chasing them or giving them a fright. Their tracks just came down the road. So I think this windy weather, they decided discretion is the better part of valor. Let's get home before we get eaten. So we're slowly making our way now towards Chitwa. We're still on Cheetah Plains at the moment. We're going to do one swing past the Djuma Dam, and of course that not to be confused with the Vuyatela Dam, which is on Djuma, just to confuse matters. Which Djuma Dam is actually on Cheetah Plains, and sometimes there's been some good sightings in that area. The leopard I haven't seen yet, Kuchava I think was her name, and quarantine goes into that area, Styx lions. Hi, Heaven Sent says, with the weather changing, does it make it harder to track? Not necessarily. The one thing is you just have to be a lot more careful when you're on foot tracking with the strong wind, because you could stumble into a buffalo or elephant without them being aware or you being aware of their presence. High grass, high wind, always a little bit, you just got to be a bit more cautious. Now, the thing that's made tracking so difficult at the moment is the rain. So the roads are very hard and compacted after the rain, so often you're following the most slight scrape in the sand. And but we like a good challenge. Oh, the first set of elephant tracks I've seen on Cheetah Plains, and it looks like from today at some point, heading towards the Djuma Dam. So we're going to follow it there. But I think it was quite a bit earlier today. But you never know, there might be a bull hanging about. Oof, this wind. What bird was that? It was looking very windswept. And it disappeared into this little thicket. I think no, we're not going to see that. It's gone into the grass. Oh dear, we've picked up a passenger and left in the road by the elephants. Let's try and get rid of it. There we go. Naughty Terminalia branch. The eddies have been up and down and up and down. They seem to have spent quite a lot of time today in this area. This is definitely not the best weather for birding. Wind makes the birds quite skittish, and also they tend to sit quite thick. Is it southern black? Tit, don't disappear. Going forward might be the best. Oh! If we can actually even see him as he hangs on, as he's thrown around in that wind. Where'd he go? You got him?
No.
I can hear him. No, I think that poor southern black tit is just hanging on for dear life as the wind gusts through. Here comes the next gust. Oh, that was a dove. Okay. Dries is wondering what species of bird would I really like to show you. Oh, don't fly, please don't fly. This is one of them. Cinnamon-breasted bunting. There we go, second bunting species. So bunting species done. We had the golden-breasted earlier. Now we have the cinnamon-breasted. Yay for the buntings. But just to answer your question, I want to show you them all. I do like birds, and I think the rarest bird we've seen on safariLIVE so far has been the corncrake on the 28th of February. And that is exciting. We've got both bunting species, cinnamon-breasted bunting, and of course the cinnamon-breasted bunting reminds us here of a very special young viewer who's passed along. Her name was Gracie, and she was 9 years old. Oh, what was that? And she used to call them cinnamon bun birds. Where did that bird go? There we go, that's a good one. So beyond this little tree to that one there, up a little bit. Hello, Karachani. Yes, Karachani thrush. That's a nice one. That's not one we see too often. So it seems like we're battling the wind, but we're winning the battle so far. Thrush, the Karachani thrush. They've got a very pretty call as well. Now, the place we actually see them most often is in the DRC, in the marula tree above camp. Wonderful. I'm trying to keep out of the wind. Now you can see that I think that the sun might be shining on Taylor and Jamie on Djuma, but it is obscured by some quite ominous cloud here on Cheetah Plains. As I said, I don't think there's any rain in it yet. It's still got a bit of building to do before it's going to rain on us, although Brian and I keep getting a single spot of rain every now and then, and there's not even a cloud above us. I think this wind just blows it in from somewhere. So we're about to arrive at the Djuma Dam, where there's some normally quite nervous hippopotamuses. Was that a stick, not a leopard in a tree? A funny looking branch. Well, we're having fun. Hello, Aussie Mom. Aussie Mom's requested a black-bellied bustard. That is not one that is on our list yet for the push to 100. So I definitely will be keeping my eye out. Again, I think with this windy weather, they're going to be quite nervy and probably sitting hunkered down in the grass. Oof, lots of elephant tracks. As I said, I think they were from midday around there, looking at them as we drive along. But as I said, you never know, there could be a straggler. Now, this is also whether you've got to be very careful with elephants in. They don't like the wind. It's shifting wind. It affects, obviously, their... So it can be a little bit testy and jumpy. Wonders are wet. See, I think we're going to start getting cool things like possibly like, oh, that is a perfect spot for night herons. Look, I'm going to try see if you can do it. See, as where the stream flows in, it's quite dark, good spot. It's a really spot where you would expect to find a black-crowned night heron. That's where the type of area where they would roost during the day before going out at night to hunt. Now, this type of windy weather is not good for the weaver birds as well, especially if they've got young chicks. This type of wind will often blow the chicks out of their nests if it hasn't been too well constructed. And you can see there, and if a little weaver bird falls out of there, there's probably a very happy terrapin or catfish underneath who will snack it up in a matter of seconds. There we go. That definitely, and it's a female, and so there most probably are chicks in there. It looks like she's checking on them. They should have hatched already. Oh, she's disappeared inside. And it's a village weaver. That's one we've got on our list, but still always nice to stop off and check on the weavers' nests. But unfortunately, those elephants seem to have moved on. We're going to keep moving towards Chitwa Chitwa. Lionheart says, how about an ostrich? I'd love to show you an ostrich, except I think unfortunately the ostriches are well inside the Kruger National Park at the moment on the basalt open areas. You see something, Brian? No. Just checking. So unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see an ostrich. So I think what we will do is we'll take a little gander through the thick crested areas of Chitwa Chitwa. Tundi likes to hunt in those areas and she can disappear in there easily. So you never know, she might have a kill. What is that big bird flying? Oh, it's a comb duck, but he's quite far away. We did see one briefly this morning. Where has he gone? There he is. Ooh. Now I'm quite confused and quite intrigued. Jamie is on bushwalk, but not on foot. Let's go find out what she's up to.
We've just hopped in our bushwalk transport vehicle. So essentially when we don't walk from camp, if we need to get somewhere far quite quickly, we take the Mahindra. and I'm trying to get from where we were, which was quite far away from camp, back home, because all of a sudden the sky has gone a deep ominous color, and I just want to make sure that we're back a little bit closer to home, so that if we need to, we can sprint back safely and not get caught out in the rain. So that's why we're in the Mahindra. Don't worry, the bushwalk will be continuing, just slightly closer to home. That's why we are on the vehicle. And since Brent's going to lose signal, you get to see a little bit of behind the scenes. Most of the time when we do bushwalk, we walk from the camp and off we go. But I saw this weather coming, and I decided if we wanted to get to where the cubs were, find them, get a sighting, and then get out if we needed to quickly, the best way was to, just trying to hold on to the bushwalk backpack, the best way was to take the Mahindra and get a little bit closer. So we're almost back towards quarantine, which is where we shall settle, and there we will give you a stunning view of the sky. It's very picturesque, and it looks far less threatening now we've panicked and gone all the way back to quarantine. That big cloud has passed over the sun, and it doesn't look nearly as bad as it did. It did look dark, didn't it, Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry to all of you if you're feeling a bit motion sick. We'll be back on foot once again very shortly. Might as well get up this hill, Dave, since we're here. Just holding on to the backpack, making sure it doesn't bounce around. We fixed the backpack, by the way. Bushwalk on wheels. It takes me back to the days of Maggie, the makeshift Mahindra. This is Maggie. Just we're not at that point where we had to. Why did that even happen? I can't even remember why we were on Maggie, the Mahindra, and the boat at one stage. That was the Mahindra that we actually took the seats out of and set up a whole cameraman's platform. I don't remember what had happened to our vehicles, but there was a reason for it. Now I'm trying to change with my right hand. There we go. Oh, I don't know whether any of you noticed that that we accidentally broke the bushwalk backpack. Not broke it. The battery just fell out while we were trying to get out of that leopard sighting. That's what kept us there that long. And since we're here, tell you the story that Herbie was going to tell me about related leopards. He said he saw 3 different generations of brothers sharing a kill. How amazing is that, when you basically got 2 years difference between the 3 of them, and they were still recognized each other. So leopards do strange things, and it's very common to find, I wouldn't say very common, it's common to find a female who has a kill with her new set of cubs, sharing it with an older set of cubs. But to have 3 of them together without the mother present goes to show that there must be some level of realization that there is a connection, a family connection between them. Leopards are wonderful. They're so unpredictable with their behavior. And I think that in 50 years' time, and I know I say this about a lot of different animals, but I mean it about a lot of different animals. In 50 years' time, we're going to know so much more than we once did. There we go. Okay, how are we going to do this, Dave? I'm also getting out of the closed areas just because it is so windy.
If you walk around, Jamie.
Okay. All right. Let us attempt this. Now, Lauren, you want to know how much does the bush walk? Oh, it's windy. You want to know how much it weighs? Here, Herbie's going to help us with a backpack. Far less now than it did before its refurb. So up until recently it weighed probably 15 kilograms, Dave, about, which is over 30 pounds. It was heavy and it was bulky and it had a big wooden thing. Okay, shall I hold the camera for you? Shall I be the camera woman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just don't zoom.
Just don't zoom. All right, Dave. Dave's got complete faith in my camera skills. Look, there you go. There's the sun. Dave's taking my legs out from under me. It's actually very pretty. Isn't that lovely? You can see the trees blowing in the wind. There's some clouds. I'll show you the backpack in a moment. It now weighs much less. 7?
7 or 8.
7 or 8, yeah. 7 or 8 kilograms. Let me show you.
Oh.
Yeah, let me show you what it looks like. There's Dave. That's the backpack. And that is the large antenna. that sticks up above his head. So that's the setup of the bushwalk backpack. Aren't my skills amazing? Look how straight that horizon is.
Very nice, very nice.
Do you want to present, Dave?
No thanks.
No thanks, says Dave. All right. Now we can go for a stroll, now that we've got a nice big open area. Kirsty says, oh, she wanted you to present, Dave. I'll be on camera. Be Jamie's blurry safaris. I know, James, the ride in the Mahindra was kind of nostalgic, wasn't it? It brought back memories. It has been a while since we last went for a ride in the Mahindra. It was very pleasant to do. And of course, the storm is sweeping right past us. After all that, I still feel better on an open area though. With this much wind about, I'd rather not get caught somewhere in a thicket, especially since the buffalo have returned to us. Oh, I nearly fell into my elephant track. That's the big hole. Imagine what it would have been like to be that elephant, Dave. All of a sudden the ground disappearing beneath you. It would have been devastating. Okay, let's go see what we can find now that we're back on foot. It was nostalgic driving in the Mahindra, but I don't want to have to do that again on a regular basis. The Maggie is not the quietest vehicle in the world, and every time you go over a bump it goes and threatens to throw the people at the back off completely. Maggie's not a comfortable looking at a tree, car. Not a comfortable vehicle. So while I attempt to reformulate all of my thoughts, let's go back over to Brent, who is on his way to Chitwa Dam.
Yes, indeed we are. We're on our way to the largest waterhole in the north. And we're having a quick look for Tundi while we do that. So this is the type of area where she can very easily disappear into, and unless she's on the road, you're going to be very lucky to spot her. It is very thick in here. And also the roads coming up to from the southern side to the Chitwa Dam are still too wet, and so we've got to go the long way around to get there, but it's part of the fun. I just need to get a little bit closer before I can see if there's any updates. What was that, Brian? I think it was a spur fowl or a Franklin. Where did it go? It has disappeared into the long grass. The windy weather keeping everything a bit nervous. It's a good thing we've got Taylor still with those leopards, because they don't mind the wind so much. It's amazing how the difference in rainfall varies over such a short distance. When we had that big storm, we only had 60 mils. Chitwa had about 80. Cheetah Plains had over 120. And that's in a space of about 7 kilometers, 8 kilometers. Although, on a positive note, for the dry season, Cheetah Plains is going to cook. They're going to have all the buffalo and all the lions, I'm guessing. Those lovely Thamida grasslands. They're not even insects making noise. There's no butterflies fluttering around in this wind. We're a little bit more protected from the wind here than where we were earlier. So this thick bush is breaking up the wind a little bit, so the top of the trees are only really the ones that are getting thrown around. Well, no sign of the lovely Tandakile through here. Let's see, maybe there's some tracks around here. Oh, it's going to be a tough one. Where's he gone? Do you see him, Brian? The massive fruit chafer. Oh, he's disappeared. Look like a regal fruit chafer. They're so big they look like birds while they're flying. We've seen a couple today. Fighting with the wind. Reduta is wondering, where have all the vultures gone? Well, they're around somewhere, wherever the lions have made a kill. They're probably around there. You must remember the vultures can cover big distances, and if there's no big carcasses around, there's no reason for them to be in this area. They've probably flown over so high we can't even see them, and they've checked it out. They're like, no dinner here, keep flying on. They could be literally choose a direction around us. Okay, now this is one of Tundi's favorite routes coming through here. So I just want to keep my eye on the side of the road. Hopefully we see a nice fresh pug print. And you can see how the water is seeping out to the road. I've made a little stream next to the road, and then it goes to a little pipe and goes under the road. Well, while we carry on exploring, let's go back to Taylor and see what she's up to.
We're racing to wild dogs. I'm trying to just hear exactly. Oh, I've got their visual. Copy, got your visual in your lock. Oh no, there's dogs, there's dogs, there's dogs. They're just up ahead, we're racing. You know how quick they are? There's also public vehicles though, so there's a bit of wind. But we need to try and get around them. But luckily for us, we can off-road, they can't. Are you ready? Holding on, Craig? Let's go! Go, go, go! These dogs are quick! So do we. We need to be quick too. This is so cool. These are the same ones we were looking for this morning. Where are you? And we can... and it's on Chitwa. Fantastic. There they are. We can go in here, of course, because we can traverse. Hello, hello. Here they are. Isn't this fantastic? And there's one of them. Now, I'm not sure how many are here, but we are going to follow them. They've just popped onto Chitwa, which is great news for us, because I was worried that they were going to go east towards Torchwood, which is an area that we cannot drive on, but that looks like with the alpha male. He's massive, he's got a huge neck on him. He's now also using the luxury facilities. Hello, boy. And I'm not sure, I can't remember for the life of me what the name of this pack is, so you're all going to have to give me a helping hand. I think it's the one from this morning. So from the sound of it, it sounded like it was three dogs. So we'll have to check. I can see the others up ahead. Right, are you ready? Here we go. It starts again. And we've got to run, because if we lose sight of them, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. But luckily for us, we're not far from the Chitwa Dam, and I hope we've got signal. We might actually coast. Will you tell Brent he's going to actually have to come and take over the sighting? Because I know we don't have signal for too far on Jigger, and we don't want to lose them. So if he can come straight towards Chitwa Dam, we are just at, I think it's called One-Eyed Pan, I think the one on Cheetah Cut Line in Chitwa. But here they are. And here's that wonderful smell of wild dog that Brent often talks about. I wish you could smell it. But sadly, there's no smell-o-vision just yet. Maybe in the future. But fantastic. So if you do know the name of this pack, I know that there are 3 that hang around. Is it not the Investec pack? That's quite a large pack. It's completely slipped my mind. Hashtag safariLIVE if you know the answer, and we'd really appreciate that. I'm sure Brent will also tell me exactly which dogs this group is. I think there's 2 boys in this and 1 girl. Let's reposition again. Let's keep up with them. And the dogs are also very much relaxed around the vehicles. If they go right, if they go all the way down there, we're not going to be able to follow them anymore, unfortunately. Oh yes, there we go. Thank you, James. You said the lower Sabi dispersal. That's exactly it. That's exactly who these are. Sorry, let me get hold of Brent. Brent. Brent, if you can give me a signal at the mobile towards the open area. A negative, it's just me. Can you maybe call it in? I'm live. So Brent's going to probably take over this sighting, and he's probably going to come and join us. We're going to stick with them for as long as we can, but like I said, we might lose signal here. He's on his way, and you know that Brent wastes absolutely no time, especially when there's dogs around. Let's catch up to them again and keep going. We've got to keep on their tracks. Like I said, always Impala. I'm so excited, and this is also the first that I've seen. I've seen them a couple of times. I have in this group went out tracking and just sort of doing midday that got dogs. Right. This
Oh, sorry about that. It seems as though the manic wild dog chase has inspired some gremlins to jump on board, as sort of inevitably happens, especially when you've got the sort of the convergence of our vehicles into Gremlin Hollow to try and stay with the wild dogs. That's the thing about the wild animals, is that they don't always pick the best possible position. How beautiful is that cloud? I wonder how many meters high that cloud is. Do you think it's over 1 kilometer high, Dave? I think it might be. It's really beautiful, and you can see the rain has started to fall from it. It's going to be a cracking thunderstorm somewhere. I don't know where, though. I don't know if it's going to hit us, if it's going to reach us, or if it's going to skim past on either side and leave us wondering and hoping. Could it be Steph's Deluge Mark II? Who knows? Hopefully Brent and Taylor managed to catch up with the wild dogs and B, signal so that you can rejoin them. But I'm excited to hear that the wild dogs were around and that they have been found, because I know Brent was very excited about them this morning. It was a toss-up in my mind this afternoon. Should we have gone to try for the wild dogs on foot? Okay, let's go over to one of the vehicles with dogs.
Okay, look. The dogs are here. There's an Impala right here. I don't know what he's doing, but he's running towards the wild dogs, which is a very, very, very silly thing to do. I'm not sure. You can see the Impala just here. He's seen the dogs, and I was almost certain that the dogs had seen him. But maybe they got lucky. My heart is absolutely racing. Don't go there, Impala. What is wrong with you? I should be saying go there because it means a meal for one of the most endangered animals in Africa. I can't believe it. Have they gone past? No, he's going. Showing off how fit he is. That must mean that the dogs did not see them. Oh no. Okay, right, let's go. Are you ready? Let's try and keep up with them again. We just have to try and find a gap and jump back onto the road, which there are very few gaps here. Oh no, Craig, we've got ourselves in a little pickle. There, the dogs are just there. How did they not see that Impala? I have no idea. Wild dogs will never give up the opportunity. They must have just had, the Impala must have the wind in their favor. We'll stick through here. They're just up ahead. Now, I apologize, we're in a very bad spot. We're just waiting for Brent to get here, and then we will leave. But our signal is all right, so I apologize in advance. We could be crash cutting away from us, but here they are again. Look at them. Look how completely camouflaged they are in the long grass. I cannot believe they didn't see those Impala. Those are the 3 luckiest male Impala I've ever seen in my entire life. I kid you not, they were about 40 yards from the dogs, and he was going closer as well. He was actually revealing himself, which is something that prey will do to a leopard or a lion and snort an alarm. They didn't let off any sounds. I think they realized that they must have had the wind on their favor. Okay, great. What we're going to do is I'm going to hand over to Brent. Brent has just arrived. He's going to zip around. He's got much stronger signal here. There he goes. And I know that he will appreciate to have a dog sighting. So let's very quickly catch up with those wild dogs and enjoy it with Brent.
There they are, there they are. Yay, thank you very much, Taylor. You are an absolute darling. There we go, you can just make them out through there. I'm not sure which dogs they are yet. Is that a collar? I can't see if there's a collar on them. But this is a really good area. There's lots of impala around here. So it could be the lowest Sabi dispersal pack. Remember that one female's got very distinct white on her right, if I remember correctly. Hold on, everyone. We all know what it's like trying to keep up with dogs. Oh, where they disappeared into this long grass. Can you see them, Brian? This is the problem with this long grass. It's wonderful, but there they are. Stations, they're from back sort of south towards the open area now. Okay, let's go. They're going to pop out. I'm hoping there's some impala up ahead on the open area. Hello, puppies! Puppies, puppies, puppies! My favorite animal. I'm so excited. Thank you, Taylor. There we go. Hello, pups. Come on, let's go find some impala. Now, it's quite funny, when the grass is very long, you sometimes see dogs jumping up on their back legs to try see. Now, we've got two dogs in front of us, one behind us at the moment. I think this does look like the... I'm not sure if this is the lower Sabi dispersal. Those are two males, and this dog behind me is a male as well with a... Is it a male? But the dog behind me's got an incredibly dark black face. I don't think I've seen that dog before. Now, I was chatting to Grant Beverly from EWT, and there have been some other dispersal males. There's dispersals from the Sands pack. So this could be a dispersal from the Sands pack as well. At this time of the year is when the dispersals happen. It is the mating season for the dogs. So there's lots of nonsense happening. But that one particular dog behind us, I didn't recognize at all. There, look at him. I think it's a male. Look how dark that wound. And it's a male. That's one, two. I think it's three males. This is a different dispersal pack. There's no females here. So 3 males. So very interesting. So what happens with wild dogs, we're just going to let the other guys have a chance in front. What happens with wild dogs, how they disperse, is that a group of 3 or 2 individuals of the same sex will leave their natal pack and will basically wander around at this time of the year when the females are going to be coming to estrus, and they're going to be looking for another dispersal group from another pack that'll be made up only of females. Okay, it's getting dark, it's windy, it's going to be dangerous on foot, so we're just going to go across to Jamie quickly to say good... Oh wait, hang on. They're going to head right down to the open area now. This is perfect hunting weather. Okay, let's go to Jamie quickly while we try to keep up with them.
Poor Dave has been standing here for the last 5 minutes with the most beautiful shot of the waxing gibbous moon. And of course, at that exact moment, the clouds have scudded over it and completely obscured it. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm sure it was a beautiful shot. I'm sure it was absolutely lovely. And the clouds are moving fast. Look, there we go, I see it.
Oh, he's back.
It's back. It's back, the moon is back. Go, Dave, seize the moment. Quickly, because these clouds, have a look at the speed that these clouds are moving in. At, not in, moving at. They are moving fast across the sky. There's some very interesting weather about to hit this part of the country. Whether or not we get rain, well, we'll find out. But what it means is that it is dark and time for us to start going home, as it gets a bit more dangerous to be out on foot. So thank you to Dave and thank you to Herbie for that amazing leopard sighting. Dave's first leopard on foot. I didn't realize until now. Thank you to all of you for joining us. I'm going to send you back over to Brent, and fingers crossed, the dogs.
Welcome to our schools. You are very lucky. This is very exciting. This is one of the most endangered animals on the planet. Excuse me, I've just got to get a shot of this particular dog so I can send it off to the Endangered Wildlife Trust so they can give me an ID on which pack this comes from. This is a dispersal pack of male wild dog. This is really incredible. There's only 3,500 left in the wild, and we're lucky enough to see 3 of them at the moment. So a big welcome to our school. Sorry, I'm a bit distracted. My name's Brent. I got Brian on camera. He's got his paperboy thumb, and now they're changing direction, going behind us again. And you got to keep up with wild dogs by going up and down and around. Okay. Alina is wondering, are wild dogs nocturnal? They're not. They are crepuscular, well, so which means they're most active at dusk and dawn. So there we go. We're on Chitwa Chitwa now. Now, believe it or not, there's a beautiful setting with this large water hole. They might head down there. There's often impala around here. Now, I'm just going to warn everyone, wild dogs are very successful hunters, and what they do is they literally rip the animal they catch to pieces in a matter of minutes. So I will let you know if I do think they're going to catch something, and it can be quite gory. So I'm just warning everyone. And you can see there's other safari vehicles here with us who are also following these wild dogs. There we go, there's one popping out in front of us. So they are coursing predators. So coursing predators means they basically just run till they see something, and then they'll just leap on it. And Dom's wondering, what do they eat? They eat small to medium-sized antelope, up to the size of a kudu, but normally impala, duiker, steenbok. They love scrub hares as well. They eat a lot of those, but they are predators, so they do eat meat. Now, this is an area where there's often lots of impala, which is the most numerous antelope in Africa, and the wild dog's favorite food. Go. So they're stopping. They might smell the air, see if there's anything around. Now, this windy weather is very good for hunting. Now, I can't see any impala up ahead. There they go, they're on the move again. Shree's wondering, can wild dogs be dangerous? There's never been a recorded attack from a wild dog on a human. I've spent many wonderful hours on walks with wild dogs, so no, they are not dangerous. So what's happening is there's a lot of people who want to see these animals. They're really rare, so I'm going to make space because we've had such a lovely sighting of them moving, and give other people a chance to also see them because they are heading towards the boundary. I'm on 2's first standby behind you. Make your way. As soon as you get here, I'll make space. Copy. I'd say come from Gari Main and that link road that goes to Shirombe next to the Mulwanini will be the fastest way to where they are. Hey, firm. Sorry about that, guys. So I'm just keeping everyone updated. So we all work as a team. So all the other lodges, we all follow these animals together. We chat on the radio. So if I lose sight of them, Harley's going to be over there, or Roy, so we can keep up with them. But we've got a bit more time while Steph makes his way here. Now these are my favorite animals. They're very exciting to follow. They're very, very quickly. They can do about 60 kilometers an hour, but they've got incredible stamina. They can keep that up for up to about 5 or 6 kilometers. Okay, let's get in front again. Oh, I see ears going flat. Have they spotted something? So when they... Oh, there's impala. There's impala right there. I'm just going to get into a good spot. Hold on, everyone. Now, be warned, guys, this could get very, very gruesome. Wild dogs are not known to be the nicest, or people have a bad conception about how they kill things. So there's the impala and the zebra. I don't know if they've spotted the dogs yet. So it's the only animal that impala will just run from. They don't even snort, they just take off. But I think they got spotted, and those impala managed to put some distance between them. So there they are. So this is the favorite time of the day for them to hunt, or this and the early morning. It's sort of pre-dawn into dawn, and now as it gets dark. They don't do much hunting at night. Sometimes they'll hunt at night when there's a full moon, but most of their hunting is done at dusk and dawn. Crystal's wondering, how do I tell whether they're male or female? Well, the males are a bit bigger, and also they have the same things that a boy dog has. Standing by. Coffee, keep coming. They're heading straight towards that link. I'm just going to stand by till you get here, and then I'll leave. Okay, so we're going to have one last look as they run off. And I just need to be on the radio again. Steph, they're heading straight to the junction with that leg, heading straight to Moanini. Okay, so wasn't that exciting? That is one of the most rare animals in Africa. Only 3,500 left in the world. It is so spectacular. You are so lucky you got to see them. But now, while we give other people a chance to have a look at them, we're going to go across to Taylor and see what she's got.
Hello everybody and welcome. It's very exciting out here, don't you think? Especially to see some wild dogs. I can promise you, you won't see that again anytime soon. So I hope you enjoyed that. We've got something lurking in the water at the moment, but it is doing a good job at hiding away. Look, there it is. It is a hippopotamus. But a very shy hippopotamus. This is a big boy. He's living here on his own, and he is staring at us. He's actually saying hello to you. So wave to the hippopotamus if you are watching, and see, I'm going to teach you the noise that a hippopotamus makes. Are you ready? And you've all got to copy me. So I'll do it once, and then I'll count to 3, and you've got to do your best hippo impression, because this hippo doesn't understand English. He can only speak hippo language. Are you ready? So this is the sound a hippo makes, and I'm warning you, it's not a very good one. Right, have you all got that? Now, are you ready to make the call? I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh my goodness, and I heard all of you from all the way down in South Africa. Well done. You did a great job. I'm sure your teachers have got sore ears now. But this hippo, that's the sound that he'll make when he declares his territory to the other hippos. And you can see he's got a very nice home at the moment. He's got this beautiful big dam. There's lots of water for him to move around in. And I hope that this hippo stays here. So I have a question for all of you, because remember, you can ask us questions too. And I want to hear your best guess. How long do you think that hippopotamus can hold its breath for? So I'll tell your teachers, put your hands up and send us some answers as how long you think. So we'll go in minutes. So we'll do, how many minutes do you think a hippopotamus can hold its breath for? Now we have to wait very patiently for him to pop up again. And I think he's a little bit nervous because it's very windy, it's very cold, it's actually quite miserable out here now because there's a big storm approaching. But he won't mind too much because that means that his home, his watering hole, is going to get much, much deeper. And that means that the water will last here for a lot longer, because in our winter months, now in autumn at the minute, when we hit June, July, we're in the prime of our winter months, and then we get no rain. So can you believe it? From the end of this month right to about the end of September, we will not see one little drop of rain. All the grass disappears, all the leaves get eaten off the trees by the various animals, and it can be very, very tough. They can be hungry, they've got to wait all the way to the end of the year to eat again. So it's a tough life. And if we sit here for long enough, we may even be lucky to see this hippopotamus come out of the water. So they spend most of their days keeping nice and cool, staying out of the sun because the sun can burn them, and they don't want to get sunburn. I'm sure you don't want to get lots of sunburn. And then he will come out of the water now when it gets dark and go and eat some grass. I believe there's some answers coming through now, so let's hear them. Roman, you've guessed 30 minutes. Oh, very good guess, Roman. It's a little bit too long. Should I give you all a clue? It's less than 10 minutes, so now you can play. You can try and guess between 1 and 10 minutes. Akash, you are very, very close. You've said 7 minutes. That is a very good guess. We'll give one more person a go to have an opportunity, but Akash is very close. Taylor, you have a fantastic name because your name is the same as mine. I like you a lot. You've said 5 minutes. So Akash and Taylor, very, very, very close. I'll give you another clue. It's somewhere between the middle of 5 and 7 minutes. So what number are we missing? Any guesses? Can I hear anybody shouting out the answer? I have to listen very carefully because it's very windy out here. I can't hear properly. What did you say? Kirst, has anybody said the number yet? Okay, well, I'm going to give you the answer this time. Good guesses from everybody and well done. But now you'll remember this forever. A hippopotamus can hold its breath for about 6 minutes. That's a long time. I don't even think I can hold my breath for 1 minute underneath the water. But isn't this fantastic that we're sitting here in the middle of Africa watching these incredible animals? Don't you think it's cool? Don't you want to do what I do one day? It's such a fun job. This is very, we have to see if he comes out again. Maya, you're wondering why do hippos make that noise? So Maya, they make it for a number of different reasons. Normally at this time of the day, they're doing that noise to tell all the other hippos in the area that this area is taken. This is my pool of water. Please do not come and take my pool of water for me because I'm going to be very angry at you. They also use it for communication, so like they're talking to each other. So one might say, hey Bob, how's it going? Do you want to go for some dinner tonight? The other one, maybe his wife and kids say, we're going to go over to Mary's and we're going to have a play date and the children are going to have some fun together. Who knows what the hippos are saying, but they definitely are talking to each other. But he's being very shy now. He's hiding away from us. So this is where the most important thing comes in, is you have to play the patience game. And we got very lucky earlier, is that not only do the hippos make that wonderful sound, but another thing that they do, and you may have seen some videos, is that they open their mouths very, very wide. And when the males do that, we call it a hippo yawn. That's normally a threat display. So a threat display means that perhaps that hippo is uncomfortable with you, and he's not too happy. He's now alarmed. He shouted at you, and now he's showing, look how big my teeth are. Look how big and scary I am. And they will do that. But he doesn't want to play with us today. And that's fine. Sometimes the animals need a little bit of a break too. So you're wondering where the hippos sleep. most of the time, they will maybe plonk themselves on the edge of their dam. You can sit out there and they'll sun themselves. They love to suntan, but when the sun is not too strong. So in winter, when it's not too hot, you often see the hippos sunbathing. Otherwise they'll float in the water. When you have a family of hippos together, you'll see them all resting their heads on each other, especially the younger ones. They don't like very deep water, so this isn't very deep, and if you go towards the edges, they're able to touch the bottom and they will float around like that. Sometimes also in the sand, in the riverbeds. Marcelo, you're wondering if hippos travel in herds. I suppose so. The collective noun, so the name that we give hippos is a group. We call it a pod of hippos. Typically we'll say a herd for zebra, for impala, and some of the other antelope species. Now we have to, there he is. He popped out on the top right corner. Hello, boy. Come and say hello to us. And we would call them a pod when they're in the water. It's not very common to see big groups of hippos out of the water together. The only place I've actually ever seen it was when in Zambia, which is sort of northeast of us from where we are here in South Africa. At night, it was really amazing. I would stand on the deck of one of the lodges I was working at and look out to a big open grassland area. And with the moonlight, you would see all these flickers of silver out in the open. You couldn't quite make out what it was, but those were all the hippos, sort of the light reflecting off of their backs. So that was really, really amazing. We're probably going to have to leave this hippo soon because it is getting very, very dark now, and I don't want to put a spotlight on him while he's in the water. They can be quite shy, and I don't think he's going to move away while we are here. Diego, you're wondering what part of Africa are we located? So basically, we have to go all the way. If you know the continent of Africa, you go all the way to the bottom corner, and South Africa is situated there. So, and then in South Africa, we're in the northeastern corner. So if you're looking at a map and you look at South Africa, we're in the top right-hand corner. So we're very close to Mozambique. It's not very far at all. We're actually not too far away from the ocean. Can you believe it? As the crow flies, so directly, if you go from here to Mozambique, it will only be 150 kilometers. I'm not sure what that is in miles, but it's not very far at all. Right, here he is. Let's have one last look at this hippo because we're going to have to say goodbye to him now. It's a little bit too dark for us to see too much. And we'll have to change the camera around a little bit. Oh, I believe Brent is trying to look for me. There's Brent. I can see him. Let me turn my Game Drive radio on. Standing by, Brent. Yeah, FM, I will head there in a momentum, or you can go there if you'd like. I'm not too fussed. There we go, just chatting to Brent, who you saw with the dogs, but now we're going to have to try and move on from here. And I don't know where we're going to go yet. We're going to try and go back towards some leopards, but it's a little bit of a drive away, so we're going to slowly start making our way there. And I'll be very excited if we can show you some leopards. We're just seeing Brent driving off. Let's very quickly jump onto the back of his vehicle and see what he's got planned for you.
Well, I'm hoping we're going to find some other animals. We've managed to show you dogs. Now Taylor hopefully will find some cats for you. But in the meantime, I'd love to hear from you. Ask your questions. I'll do my best to answer them. Hello, Matthew. Matthew's wondering, how do we spot animals? Well, we spot them with our eyes, Matthew. We also track them, so we'll follow their footprints till we find them. But the eye is like any other muscle, so the more you use it, the better it gets. Now, you'll see people who come on safari for the first time, for the first day or two, they can't see you go, there's a leopard there, and they sit there going, where? I can't see it. But after 3 or 4 days, they start picking it up. Now, remember, we do this every day, so our eyes are very well trained to spot things that just look slightly different. We're looking for a little flick of an ear, or the shape of a head. Whew, very windy tonight. Now, we're at this sort of twilight period where we do have spotlights, and I'm sure Taylor was using one with the hippo, but at the moment it's sort of redundant. We can't really use the spotlight. It's not dark enough yet, so we've got to just concentrate and use our eyes very carefully. But wasn't that exciting with the wild dogs? So much fun. Now, let's see, maybe we'll find a chameleon, maybe we'll find an owl, maybe we'll find a hyena. You never know what's around the next corner out here in the bush. I think it'd be quite nice to find a chameleon. I haven't seen that many this year. Might be a little bit cold for the chameleons tonight, but we will try. So at night time, the chameleons move out from the middle of the bushes and they sit right on the edge, and that's where they sleep. So we do spot them from time to time while we're driving around in the dark. Oh, there's a big hole. Sorry, Brian. I've got some big storms all around us, but luckily none over us. But I think, oh, you never know, one might come during the night. This is our rainy season, so we don't have 4 seasons like you do. We only have 2 seasons. We have hot and wet, which is at the moment, and then cool and dry. So when your summer is our winter, and your winter is our summer. Dolphins says, why do we film in Africa and not other places? Well, we might be filming in other places soon, but the reason we're based in Africa is that Africa has got a lot more iconic wildlife than other places, and also because of the type of bushveld, or the area we're in, the savanna area, holds a lot more animals. So, for example, if you had to go try film wolves every day in Alaska, for an example. Now, Alaska is where the wolves live, is temperate forest, and it gets very cold, so there's not a lot of grass and things like that. So the animals have much bigger home ranges and they move big distances. Whereas in Africa, just in our little patch here, which is about 10,000 acres, we've seen 27 different leopards, 3-4 different prides of lions, hyenas, wild dogs. So it's a very species rich biome, the savanna biome. There's elephant, there's buffalo, and they're all regularly in an area, whereas a lot of other places it's a lot more difficult to see a lot of animals in a small area. So if we take the rainforest, it's incredibly difficult. There's a rainforest so thick. Here in the savanna, at least we can see out. There's lots of different birds, and all the mammals and snakes, and we see all those different things. And of course, the African wildlife, I mean, who doesn't want to see a big male lion or a leopard or an elephant? So it's one of the things that people want to see. And also, the company was started in Africa. All of us are Africans, and most of the presenters, we started off as safari guides before we started doing this. Well, we're still safari guides, except now we present to, or we do our safari for whoever's watching wherever they are in the world, instead of just 6 or 7 people on the back of a safari vehicle. So it's very exciting, and we get to share our home with all of you. Michelle wants to know, how do we know where we're going in the dark? Well, Michelle, we just do. We have a good sense of direction, but let's pretend we were lost. And turn off all the lights. Ooh, it's quite spooky. Now, there's still a little bit of ambient light left from the sunset, so I know that the most light area at this time of the day, which is there, is west. So the sun always sets in the west. So opposite the most light area is going to be the darkest, and that'll be the east. But also we've got a bit of a cheat today, because up there the moon rises in the east, so we can see the moon. So I now know where east and west is. Now, because I know this area particularly well, our wind normally comes from the south. So the wind is coming from behind me, which means that I must be facing north. So, and I know our camp is in the northeastern part of the reserve, so I'm going to head northeast to go home. Isn't that beautiful? Hello, Diego. Diego is wondering, are there more predators out during the night? Well, the predators are always here, but they're more active at night. And you do get the opportunity to see some predators that you won't see during the day. So you'll see lion and leopard and hyena during the day, but you don't see the little predators like white-tailed mongoose and honey badgers, or sometimes you do, but they're more active at night. So 80% of the more interesting smaller mammals only come out at night. So looking lots of different things, owls, porcupines, and there's always a chance we could find any of those different creatures. Although with this wind tonight, I think a lot of those creatures are going to stay hidden. And there's another little interesting creature. Hello, it looks to be a fiery-necked nightjar. Hello, little nightjar. Now, this is a nocturnal bird. See how big its eyes are, and it specializes in feeding off insects. Isn't that cool? Oh, but we've got something very exciting. Let's jump on back board. Let's jump back on board with Taylor. Let's see what she's got.
I'm having to reverse at the moment, but look who I found. Just wandering down the road. Oh no, I've turned my lights off. Sorry, hang on. Back on again. I've got Miss Shongile and Mr. Hosanna, who are brothers and sister leopards. They are young cats still. They are just over a year old. And what a fantastic find this is, because we saw them a little bit earlier. We actually didn't see both of them, and look how close we are. Craig, can you show them how look at this, right here, right there. I can almost scratch it on top of the head. Did you see that? Isn't this amazing? Sitting right close. And hopefully the two of them are going to play about now. When we saw Hosanna, so Hosanna is the one that we are looking at the moment, he was fast asleep, dreaming about all the impala that he wants to eat and all sorts of lovely things like that. And we didn't see his sister, so she must have just been laying in the long grass. But now that it's nighttime, the leopards thrive, and I think that it is playtime for them. Now we're just going to sit quietly. We're going to let them walk past us. Now I can't duck or anything, so we'll just watch them. Look at this. You can see, I'm going to lean this way. I'll do this, so you can see how close Shongile and Hosanna are. Now, it's very important when any animal approaches your vehicle, even if it's just an impala, which is not necessarily dangerous to us. Let me turn my light. No, I can't. I have to get my spotlight out, which is now hidden away. Please bear with me for 2 seconds as I dig the spotlight out from underneath all the goodies. It's important that you don't move around too much. You can talk, you can make a noise, that's okay, but you don't want to shuffle about too much. Michelle, you're wondering what I would do if an animal were to attack. There, they're behind us. We have to turn around now. Let's quickly turn around. How exciting is this? We've had an unbelievable game drive today, and I'm so glad we've had so many fun things to show you. So, which would be a difficult thing. The chances of an animal attacking us, Michelle, I promise you, is really, really slim. You've got to do some very... Nope, that was a tree, a small little branch that I reversed into. It's very difficult to turn over here. Let's try this again. The chances of an animal attacking you is almost next to nothing, I can promise you that. So if an animal were to try and attack me, I'd probably make a lot of noise. I'd clap my hands, sort of shout, hey, 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 to try and make as if I was bigger and scarier than that animal. Otherwise, it's tough. You just hope that doesn't happen, but it really won't. There are very, very few incidents out here in the bush where animals will attack you. Now, where did they go? This is now the fun part. Now we've got to find them again. Where did they go? Where did you go? Now I need to look for their tracks. Pablo, you're one. Oh, there they are. They're in here. Hi, naughties. I remember seeing them in here when they were much younger. Pablo, you're wondering, how do these animals see at night? They've got incredible eyesight at night, and especially the cats. Let's go down here and see. Don't stalk us. I'm just going to put the spotlight just down here. So the main thing is that in their eyes, now this can be a little bit difficult to understand, but in your eyes you've got color sensors and you've got light receptors. So typically the cats will have more light receptors, which means that they're able to see better at night. So they can take the light from the stars, from the moon, from the spotlight, and utilize it. So they use it and they turn it into something that they can use, of course, to make them see better. So they are nocturnal, nocturnal creatures is the word to use, when they are more active at night. And then if you're something like an impala or a kudu or an elephant or a buffalo, even you have more color receptors and you are better at seeing during the day. I don't know where his sister's gone now. She's somewhere around here. Othello, you're wondering if it's difficult to witness and dangerous to witness an animal hunt. No, not at all. We're very lucky to even witness something like that. Isn't it amazing that the animals feel so comfortable with us that they carry on going about their daily activities? And that, of course, includes catching animals and getting some food. So we're very lucky because we spend so much time with the various animals out here. Remember, we do 6 hours at least of safaris every single day. Let's catch up because I think he's going to pounce on his sister. Just going to roll forward. And to be able to see something like a hunt is actually very, very rare. There they go, chasing each other off in the long grass. Now they're the same age, but you can see how much smaller Shongile is compared to his brother. It almost looks like Hosanna is Shongile's mother, don't you think? Because there's such a big size difference. I think they're having something to drink. There must be a little puddle in there. Okay, let's move forward. I need to just find a nice safe spot to drive here. Anthony, you're wondering what is the best weather for leopards to hunting? This weather that we're experiencing right now. It's nice and windy. It's maybe going to be a bit rainy a little bit later. So that means, I'm going to sit here, that these animals, let me put this light on them. That's better. That means that these animals have got a good chance of catching something, because with all of the wind, it muffles the sound. So they'd be able to sneak up to their prey a lot easier. It's difficult when it's a very still day, but rainy and windy days are the best times to go out hunting. Otherwise, like I said, it is very tough. Hey! Oh, wow, look at that. Look how they're playing. Isn't this fantastic? See, Shongile is now in the grass. She's stalking in the distance, just to the right. Let's see if she's going to pounce out again. So now they're practicing. They are fine-tuning their hunting skills. There, you can see her little head popping out. And they love to play at night. And you can see how much more active they are. There she is. Okay, ears are flat. She's pulling the leopard hunting face. There she is. I'm waiting for her to come running out again. Akash, you're wondering if the leopards hunt together. They typically don't. So both boy and girl leopards actually are solitary. So they mark and defend territory. So they really do live on their own. Alright, this is just trying to get it so that you can see. But they're living together now, of course, because they're still too young to be out on their own. So they rely on mom to catch them food. Though the two of them have started to learn how to hunt. And they're catching things like mice and rats and birds and tortoises and frogs and things that are not very good at escaping. There we go. There's Shongile. You can just see my spotlight popping into screen every now and then. She's going to pounce, and I wonder if she's going to push her brother into the water. What do you think? There she goes. She's thinking about it. You see how flat she's making herself? She's trying to hide away. And that's what they do, is they creep in the grass, get as close as they can to the animal that they want to catch. and then they leap into the air and try and land directly on top of their prey. And then they will, of course, try and kill it so that they can eat it. But she gets a bit distracted sometimes, and so does her brother. There we go. She tucks her legs under her bum. She's getting ready. Come on, girl. Show us how great your hunting skills are. And now Hosanna, unfortunately, is not as great. Watch this, watch this. Yee! And they'll keep playing with each other like this all night long. There we go, Hosanna's turn. He's now stalking. He's pretending that Shongile is the prey. Off they go, racing away in the long grass. I'm so sorry, I keep catching flies tonight, and they are very tasty. They're full of protein. I definitely won't need any dinner tonight after eating the amount of flies that I've gobbled up today. Curse, please may I have that question again? I'm so sorry, I can't find my radio now that I'm laying on top of it. Yee, okay. Michelle, you're wondering if the length of leopard's whiskers can help with something. Yes, they definitely can, and what a great question. Thank you, Michelle. So typically, any cats, when they all have whiskers, of course, they're very important. It helps them sense where things are. So without their whiskers, you might find that a cat wouldn't be able to judge the width, so how wide something is. They could misjudge it and then walk into it or get stuck. So you'll see that if you've ever seen a cat, and I've seen some videos where is he gone? There he is. Where they've lost their whiskers somehow, maybe due to an injury, and they often seem to be a bit clumsy just because they aren't able to, sort of figure out where they're supposed to go. So whiskers are very important for cats for judging the distance between things. There we go. Now I hope they don't go too far away because we're going to lose them otherwise. It's almost impossible to get up out of this little dip. Anthony, you're wondering when leopards sleep. Now, most of the time they sleep during the day. We actually spent most of the afternoon with Hosanna, fast asleep. Jamie found them. She was walking around earlier, but she had to head home because it got too dark. And there they are, still chasing each other. And they will sleep for up to 16 hours a day. Maybe a little bit less. It depends on the leopard, of course. But these cats, these youngsters, they don't have anything to worry about. Mom does all the looking after and catches them lots of delicious things to eat. But when they get older and they have to rely on themselves for catching themselves food, their Shongile is going to sneak up. And there they play again. And then it's a little bit difficult. Then they will mostly sleep during the day and hunt at night or on cooler days. You see, they don't want to hunt when it's very, very hot because they use a lot of energy. So it's better to hunt when it's cooler, and also they've got the upper hand on the prey that they're hunting because their eyesight is much better than the diurnal animals. Remember, the ones that are more active and more busy during the day. Hello, Hosanna, you're hiding away. And look at their camouflage. Look how well hidden he is. He's planning his next attack. Now, Othello, you're wondering what type of animals do leopards hunt? Pretty small prey. It's not as big as something that a lion would eat. So typically in this area, they like to catch impala. They like to catch another antelope called a common duiker, which is quite small, as well as a smaller one than the common duiker, a steenbok. But they can catch prey up to about the size of a female nyala, which is relatively big. And hopefully you guys will be able to watch again soon during the day. Wow! Here he goes again. Oh, hello leopards. Well, they're just playing with they're wrestling with each other at the moment. Come on, show us your hunting skills. Fight each other. They are naughty, these two. They're very, very naughty cats. Hosanna, what are you doing? Get off of your sister. There we go. She's had enough now. She said, get off of me. She's pulling very unhappy faces. Oh, no. What a naughty boy. Here he goes. And there she is now. just taking a little break, rolling around. It won't be long before she chases after her brother. Amara, you're wondering why leopards fight. So they have to fight for territory. So territories are essentially your home. So you know how you have a house and you have a garden that you live in, and sometimes you have a dog or a wall around your house to protect yourselves and to mark that that is your area that you own and that you live in. And the leopards will do the same things. They fight for land. They fight for spaces to live in. That's the main reason. Females will fight actually worse than males. I've seen worse leopard fights between the girls, and then the boys, of course, are also fighting for other reasons too. For the girls. They're fighting for the girls essentially. But you see, in a territory of leopards, you'll see one male, most likely one male, and then you'll see quite a few different females. You can see up to 10 or 15 female leopards, girl leopards in a boy's territory. It just depends on how big the boy leopard is and how much he's and how strong he is, of course. Now, sadly, this is all the time we've got with you. And I hope you've all enjoyed it. It's been wonderful. So thank you so much, of course, to Westlake and also to, oh my goodness, I always do this every time, East Lawn. I always forget every name. I'm terrible. And sorry, Collegio San Patricio. I've got a terrible cough with all these flies in my throat. Before I cough again, it was wonderful, and I hope that you enjoyed these leopard cubs and the hippopotamus and the wild dog. But let's go across to Brent for one last time, and we'll see you guys soon.
Hello and welcome to the end of the safari. What a spectacular safari it's been. Wild dogs, leopards on foot, leopards in the vehicle, Hosanna being a naughty, naughty little boy, but of course that is quite natural behavior. It's instinctive, he can't help it, and that's why those male leopards will disperse, and so it's to prevent inbreeding. Now, of course, at the beginning of the drive, we did mention that the paper boy Thumb had some big news to say, but we're going to wait a little bit. We're going to keep you in suspense for a little bit longer. What could the Thumb have to say? Brian, are you in control of the Thumb?
No, the thumb.
Oh no, the Thumb's doing its own thing. Brian has lost control of his Thumb. It's quite scary. Everyone, lock their doors tonight. The Thumb is out. He's on the rampage. No, of course, I'm only kidding. But again, so awesome to see those dogs. I will try to get ID on those dogs from Grant at EWT. He did mention to me that the sand, there were 3 males that are dispersed from the sands pack, so I think there's a very good chance that those 3 males are from there. So let's hope that there's some dispersal males coming, or females, sorry, coming from the north, from the Open pack or one of the other packs, and that could form a new pack, and that would be incredible, because then you'd have sands. There's still that lower Dasabi dispersal running around. There is an open dispersal of 2 males, so we need some more female dispersals, to be honest. Lots of male dispersals around, and of course the Sabi Sands pack, Investec pack, and the open pack, but that sticks further to the north of us. Now, of course, very exciting. Wild dogs, one of the most endangered carnivores in Africa, and my favorite animal, and they're so exciting to watch. They're always on the move, up and about, and their social structures are just absolutely incredible. The only animal really out here who puts the babies to the top of the social hierarchy. So yeah, like human beings do, even though you might not think it, but the way we treat our young means they're actually on a higher social standing than the adults. Okay, well, we're coming now to the last couple of minutes of the show, and the Thumb and Brian, extra, read all about it. There we go. For those of you who don't get to see Brian very often because he's often behind the camera, there he is with his magnificent beard. Over to you, Brian.
Hello everyone, as you know, my name is Brian and I am the cameraman. Bad news, folks, the winds of change are a-blowing and it is time for me to move on from Wild Earth. I have some personal things that I need to take care of, and I'm going to be leaving quite soon, actually, within the week. So these are going to be my last few drives, and yeah, on to...
I'm very sad.
Bigger and better things, I suppose. Killer bees.
Killer bees. Oh, it's an end of an era.
It is.
It's an end of an era. So over 2 years of killer bees.
Yeah.
It's been fun, and of course we all love Brian, and we're going to miss him dearly. But we are going to explain more in detail, and we're going to have a celebration of Brian's time here at Wild Earth, and we're going to be doing that with a fireside chat on Saturday.
Yeah, so join us then. I'll be on answering some questions, chatting about what I'm going to be up to and what is actually happening, and yeah, take it from there.
I know, a very sad day. I'm very sad. The killer bees. From corn crakes to leopards chasing cheetahs to all sorts of things we've experienced over the last year. We're trying to choose one of our favorite sightings, and it's really difficult because together we've had so many fantastic sightings. And as we come into the last few seconds, it is a very sad day, but you might be back. You never know.
You never know. Depending on how things go, I might be back before you know it.
And as I say, it's very sad, but we're going to have an absolute party for Brian's last couple of drives and weekend. We're going to have a splendid time on the fireside chat. So from the Killer Bees, we're going to say bon nuit, good night, and see you on the Sunrise Safari. Hopefully those dogs are still around. Bye.
Bye.